It's Dale D'Antoni here. Welcome to the Sofa Sessions. D'Antoni, Wayne.
Welcome back to episode 67 of the Sofa Sessions podcast. This week we have on Shawn Brooks, and oh my gosh, this is probably the best podcast that I have filmed. Shout out to Shawn Brooks for coming on, an amazing dude. I learned so much about timesharing and selling timeshares that I didn't even know. I didn't even know he did that. I originally invited him on because he has a boxing gym and all the kind of stuff that follows with that. But he got here and started, and that was the opener. So we went with that for a little bit. This podcast was a big one. So I appreciate him coming on and sitting for 2.5 hours and talking and just being himself and everything that he explained. He was transparent about the money making and timeshare, like the whole boxing thing. Like it was just such a fun episode. And as we were, the whole time we were filming this, he reminded me of if Brock Lesnar and Willie Robertson had a child. He had the mannerisms as Willie Robertson and sounded like him, and then he has the size and build of Brock Lesnar. He's got the hair, the beard. Brock Lesnar looks like that now these days. But yeah, such a fun episode. I will say he carried a majority of that. I was literally sitting here listening in awe in almost everything that he was saying. And yeah, so definitely go shout out to him, shout out the Dog Pound Boxing Gym, and all the stuff that he does and is involved with. Amazing, so yeah, thank you guys for listening to this episode. I hope you enjoy it. I just really do appreciate the continued support for everything. It's been a lot. So yeah, I feel like I'm in stride right now. We got momentum going. And I just feel more confident about the whole product and content that I'm putting out. So thank you guys for that. And I'll see you in the next one. Been a while. I feel like we kind of had something set up and then a couple things happened. I think weather or something like that. I don't know if you remember.
I don't really remember exactly either, but I do remember we had set this up and then something fell through. I think you were supposed to send me the address, and I think that's what it was. The weather was bad that day, though.
Yeah. Okay.
And
yeah.
I had to fly out that same day, and I was like, well, I guess he canceled because he never sent me the address, so I was just chilling, and then you hit me up like the same minute. It was like I was supposed to be here at 12, I think, and I think you messaged me your address at like 11:30, and I was like, man, I already counted that out. I was getting ready for the airport.
Yeah, that's a little scheduling thing, but I get better as it goes on.
Hey man, I'm happy to be here. This is pretty cool.
Yeah, bro. Thanks. Yeah. So what's up with you? Like, you fly out every other week?
I fly out every week. Yeah, I fly out somewhere new every week. It'll be this week I'm going to Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh, okay.
And then next week the following week I'll be in Los Angeles, California. Then the following week after that I'm wanting to say Detroit.
Dang.
Yeah.
Why do you do that? I guess was the first thing.
Well, it's a pretty good job. I only work 2 days a week.
Dang.
And it does well. So I'm thankful for it. I started out years ago. I had my own business, and I lived in Thompson, and everything was going great. Then I started having a heart issue. I went into AFib at like 28 years old.
Dang.
Yeah, my business had grew a lot faster, I guess, than I was ready for.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really know how to hire the people to handle my stress. I thought I had to do it all on my own.
Yeah.
And it grew a lot faster than I was ready for, I think. Mm-hmm. And it put a lot of stress on me. And, went into AFib, and they had to shock me and stuff like that to get it back into rhythm. They went up in one of my arteries there and made sure I didn't have any blockages in my heart and all of that. And ever since then, it's like, I was like, man, what am I going to do here? Just as it happens, it was during a time where the entire town of Thompson thought that I'd won the lottery. So I was driving down the road one day leaving work, and I got this phone call from this guy that I had done a metal roof on his house for, and he said, hey, Shawn, he said, you lucky son of a gun. I said, what do you mean? How am I lucky? I'm over here sweating, half dying. And he's like, no, man. He's like, I know you won the lottery. I said, huh? He said, I know you won the lottery. I said, I didn't win no lottery. He said, yeah, you did. You lying SOB. Yeah, you did. And I said, no, man, I didn't. And he's like, yeah, okay, Shawn. That's what people say that won the lottery. And I was like, all right, fine, you got me. And I was just being fun. I was just laughing. I was like, all right, you got me, just to get off the phone, And I said, just don't tell nobody, right? So I didn't realize what that was going to steamroll into. And he told one of the guys that was on the board, I guess, of commissions or something. I don't know how all that works, but yeah, he told this guy that, I guess, because this guy called me for the first time ever. Shawn, congratulations, man. I'm proud of you. I just told this guy not to say a word, and I kid you not, it wasn't maybe 3 minutes later I got a call from him.
It's a small town, man.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, man, so-and-so just called me, told me you won the lottery. So I was like, yeah, man, yeah, He's like, so what do you plan on doing with the money, And I'd already had this. By that point, I was like, you know what, let's roll with it, So I was like, oh, yeah, man, I'm going to buy some condos. I didn't know how much money I had supposedly won.
Yeah.
So he's like, man, 10 million is crazy. I was like, yeah, it sure is. And so in my head, I'd already had that 10 million spent, And so he's like, I was like, how'd you find this out? Like, because I couldn't figure out how it even started. You know, like how did this even start?
I'm confused right now, honestly.
Yeah, are they trolling me or am I trolling them? You know what I mean? So he's like, the guy at the gas station, he said it was on Facebook that somebody had won the lottery, So, it was at the gas station that morning. We stopped there every morning for, to get our stuff for work. Yeah. He's like, and, I asked him, what did the guy look like? I'm trying to figure this out. He said it was a tall guy with long hair. And does construction. And I guess that on its own just kind of took off. So, man, I kid you not, man, the entire town, I started having people calling me, and this is true story. Like, I didn't realize that people that won the lottery really went through that. Yeah. Man, let me tell you something. I had people messaging me on Facebook that I hadn't talked to in 15, 20 years since I was a kid. Saying, man, man, it was so fun hanging out with you when we was kids. It was like best friends. And I had people telling me they were kin to me. I literally had a picture sent to me from one of my cousins that also hadn't talked to me in a while. He was shady and messaged me saying, there's the Channel 12 news station is at Granny Bonnie's house. I don't know how they even showed up at my grandma's house, but it showed up over at the news station at like 10:30 at night.
What?
Yeah. So
10:30?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
They showed up at like 10:30 at night, and I was like, tell them I don't want to talk tonight. Tell them to come back and see me tomorrow. And so I had a news lady message me on Facebook saying, congratulations, sir. We'd really like to, sit down and talk with you. Yeah. So I'd already had it in my head. I was like, all right, bet. So I had plans. I was going to buy. I mean, I went and got my hair braided because that's what I do on special occasions. I get my hair braided. So
I saw a couple pictures. I like it.
Yeah,
I like it, bro.
So I went to get my hair braided. I got my hair braided. Man, I was going to buy this nice coat, like a fake mink coat, type thing with the big glasses and all. And,
looking like riffraff out there.
Yeah. My whole goal was to riffraff it, right? So I was like, man, I can't wait to put on this show. And my wife was like, Shawn, don't do that. She's like, some poor soul is going to lose their job because you want to play jokes. So I backed off of that.
Dang, you should have went through with it.
Man, my best friend called me. This is how bought in I was to it. I wasn't backing off. My best friend called me and was like, Shawn, is it true? I said, yeah. Yeah, it's true, man. He's like, so what are you gonna do with the money? That's what everybody wanted to know. And I was like, and at that point, I'd really solidified what I was doing with the money. I was like, yeah, man. I'm buying 10 different condos down at Panama City Beach. I'm gonna buy a few out in the mountains. I'm gonna invest the rest. And
Dang, you're serious about it, man.
It got so bad that my wife was like, Shawn, this is getting scary. She's like, I think you're believing it yourself now. and I think I was, man. As weird as that is, I think I was. But anyway, so I had fun with that. And she went to work one day. She's a radiology tech. And she went to work one day, and one of the doctors said, why are you here? Yeah. She said, well, it's my job. And he's like, yeah, but your husband just won $10 million. Why are you here? She messaged me. She was like, Shawn, come on, please tell him. Please come out and tell people the truth. She's like, I can't keep lying to these doctors. I just can't lie to them. So you need to figure this out. So then I was doing a hardy board job out at the lake. And so I made this fake check out of hardy board. And we just kind of spray painted it and wrote my check because everybody wanted me to prove it.
Yeah.
So I done this reveal video of me proving that I had a check, the big check, you know. So I done that, and everybody, a lot of people got it. Was like, oh, he got us, you know. And then there was other people that was, oh, he's just messing with us. We know he got it. You know? This was right during the same time. This is going to take us back because it's right in the same time that I had that heart problem. Right, this is right after. So when an old friend of mine was working in Nashville, Tennessee, working for Wyndham Destinations, he calls me or he messaged me on Facebook and said, hey man, like, I think you're hilarious, right?
Yeah.
That was hilarious. That was good. We'd love to have you come work up here with us. And I truly had to think about it because I had seen this guy, you know, driving nice Corvettes, living in big houses. And I'm like, wow, what do they do I'd always wondered, what do they do for a living, right?
Balling out.
Balling. So I was like, yeah, you know, so I talked to my wife and she was like, because I mean, we were established in Thompson. You know, I just bought 120 acres in Thompson.
Dang.
Yeah, had a house and that's my dream, right? I was living my dream, just having my own piece of property and having my own business going. But so I told her about it. She's like, well, I'd rather have you here than have all of this. And I was like, fair enough. So I talked to the guy. I was like, hey, what's the pay like? And he was like, you know, you'll make $40,000 your first month. And I said, okay, I'm gonna come check it out. Right.
Yeah.
So we went. She was pregnant with my first son, Hudson. He's 9 now. She was pregnant with him. We drove up there, and I was sat through one of the Monday morning meetings they had, and it was just like the Wolf of Wall Street. It was wild.
Dang.
And I said, man, this is amazing. The vibe is great. So I tried to maintain the land while I left because we moved, obviously. At some point, it was a few months later, we moved up there, and I just couldn't afford it. I didn't make $40,000 the first month. And that was fluffing. But I did see that Monday morning meeting where people were getting $60,000 bonus checks.
What?
Bonus for the month. They were making $100,000 a month.
Dang.
There were some of them that were making $100,000 a month, and I said, "Well, I'm pretty competitive.
Yeah.
I know once I figure this out, I'm
You're
going for
confident,
it." Right?
man.
So I mean, it was wild. You know, we had to drive back and forth for probably 6 to 8 months. Every day that I had off, I drove from there, drove back home to go hang siding or put in windows or whatever.
Yeah.
Just to be able to pay the bills there because I wasn't making any money. It's 100% commission.
Oh.
And I didn't know what I was doing. And if anybody knows anything about timeshare as far as the sales side goes, they say if you can sell timeshare, you can sell anything. It's like Super Bowl of sales. Like you have to be really good at the sales game. People always told me, "Oh, you got the gift of gab or whatever," but that's not. That's only a half. That's only an eighth of it. It goes so much deeper. But I finally figured it out. But by that time, I'd almost lost everything I'd worked for. So I had to get rid of the land because I just couldn't afford it.
Really?
And literally about 3 months later, I was making so much money that I could have kept both with no problem at
With
that
the
time.
timeshare place?
Yeah, man.
Dang,
yeah,
man.
life was good. I had the same friend that brought me up there, recruited me up there. He left. He was a director there. He left and went down to be a director over down in Orlando area.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not going because I just started steamrolling pretty good up there. And I was like, well, why? I'm not going to fix something that's not broken.
Yeah.
Right. But
Don't want to reinvent the wheel, you know what I'm saying?
Right. And by this time, I've got a newborn baby. I've got Hudson that's probably about 4, 5-ish. And I've got my newborn. And what I realized about Nashville is it's a wonderful place for a young single person.
Yeah.
But when it comes to kids, there's not really a whole lot that you have access to. Now, my friend had left about 6 months. It's about 6 months goes by. He's down in Orlando. And I was upset with somebody at work that day. He FaceTimes me like he always did. He's a heck of a recruiter. It's almost like he knew. So he FaceTimes me. And this is like in January, right? It's freezing in Nashville. He FaceTimes me. And behind him is his daughter and his son swimming in the pool. I said, "Are you kidding me?" He's like, "Oh, man, it's nice down here, but what's the temperature up there?" And I was like, "Man, it's like 17 degrees. He's like, oh man, he's like, it's kind of cool today, you know, it's 84 degrees. I said, what? Then he's like, you need to come down here. I was like, I started thinking, and I said, there's a lot for my kids to do down there.
Yeah.
Orlando, I'm 45 minutes away from Daytona Beach. I'm 45 minutes away from Clearwater Beach on the other side in the Gulf. You've got Disney World, you got SeaWorld, Universal Studios. I was like, this is the heaven for my kids.
Yeah.
I said, you know what? I might come down there. So they set up for me that they flew me down there to meet about taking over a position of being a in-house manager. Mm-hmm. And in-house is different than frontline. There's two different things in the timeshare world. You got frontline that works with people that don't own yet.
Yeah.
Right. And
so what is a timeshare real quick?
So timeshare is exactly what it is. You're sharing time with people that own a condo. So in a sense, you can buy like a 52nd because it's 52 weeks, right? You can buy a 52nd of a time there. It's called a deed, a UDI, an undivided interest deed, or undivided interest deed. It's been so long since I've sold timeshare. It's been probably 4 years now. Maybe 3, but you can buy points now. So Fairfield invented a point system back in 1991. So it kind of, what happened was, the reason why they done that is because they were running out of units to sell. You can't sell one unit but 52 times.
Yeah. Huh.
So they were having trouble selling them. So now they can sell points. They can sell you as many points as long as you can handle the payment on it. They can sell it to you. Yeah. So it kind of done away with all of that. Now, the reservation trouble started hurting whenever you move over to points for several different reasons, because you've got so many people that's trying to get to that same week you're trying to get to. Yeah. So then that's also another good sales point. Well, why don't you have a deed there if you like going there? You know, so you can. You know, it was a fun job. It taught me a lot. It taught me a lot, for sure. Mm-hmm. But like I said, it's all vacation based. Yeah. So a lot of these resorts that you go to, they have a sales center. A lot of them do. Like, you've got Hilton, Welk. You've got, what used to be Blue Green. You've got something that used to be Diamond. They got bought out by Hilton about 3 years ago. Now, this is just stuff I have to know for my job. But yeah. But anyway, I got down there, and I loved it. I thought it was awesome. I met with the vice president of the sites, and he was a super awesome guy. He took me out to eat, got me a few drinks in me, and we started talking.
Buttered y'all up.
Yeah, he did. And he said, well, would you like the position? I said, yeah. So they sent me $14,000 to relocate. Dang. So I left from there, and I told my wife, I said, I don't care to see the house, but you make sure you get a nice one. Like, get one that reflects what we've got going on, right? Because I never lived in a nice house. Yeah. So I remember it was crazy because in Nashville, I was supposed to leave a week later than I did. What happened was a tornado come through there, and it devastated the town. Yeah, I lived in a town called Mount Juliet. It's about 15 minutes away from the site that I lived at. About 15 minutes from downtown Nashville, but it's right there on the outskirts. It's a nice little community. Well, I remember I was playing poker on my phone one night, and I get this notification on my phone, tornado watch or whatever, a warning. Yeah. It's hard for me to remember which one's the worst one of the worst, but then all of a sudden, my phone starts going nuts. Bang, bang. I was like, what in the world? So I looked at it, and it said tornado warning. And I said, I think this is the real deal. My wife is terrified of tornadoes. Why? I couldn't tell you. She'd never been in one, but she had always been terrified of tornadoes.
She probably watched the movie Twister too many times.
Man, man, listen. She was asleep upstairs. It's probably 1 o'clock in the morning. She was upstairs asleep with the kids, right? So when this thing goes off, I was like, I still swiped over because I was in a good hand, I was like, man, I might win some money right here. And what got my attention was the sirens started going off in the town. The big sirens. They had these panic type sounds. I was like, this is real. So I ran upstairs. I didn't know how to tell her. I was just like, hey, there's a tornado outside. She's like, what? Like, hair all matted over. Like, what? So I was like, get downstairs. I think you're supposed to get in the bathroom, because I didn't know what to do. We'd never seen a tornado. So I get them in the bathroom, and in my ignorance, I wanted to like see it or something. So I opened the door to we lived in townhomes. It was called it's killing me. The LC in Mount Juliet. This is a townhomes, nice place. I opened the door up, and it's just so eerie. It was just like you couldn't hear nothing, but you could feel a warm breeze.
Dang.
And it wasn't supposed to be a warm breeze. This was in February, end of February. I think it came March 1st. So it wasn't supposed to be 82 degrees.
Yeah.
You know? So I was like, man, what in the world? But I didn't realize how serious it was. So anyway, I shut the door. I couldn't get my big behind in that bathroom. It was a small little one bath room, like a little toilet, and that was it. It was just for the downstairs.
Little half bath sitch.
Yes, that's it. Half bath. So I was like, all right, well, you know, if it gets bad, then I'm gonna jump in there. If I start feeling something shaking, I'm gonna jump in there. Never felt that. Well, we stayed awake that whole night after that. Like I didn't go to sleep. So we all stayed up, and the next morning when we drove out, it was brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, it was emotional. I mean, it would make you emotional just to see it, just the devastation that it done. My son's school that he went to was completely flattened. I mean, flat. Had that tornado came during school hours, it would have killed so many kids.
Yeah.
So, got to thank the good Lord on the fact that He brought it in at 1 o'clock in the morning. But it was so bad that we decided, let's just leave now. And I was like, let's do it. So we went, got a U-Haul, had to pay cash because the card reader there was no power.
Yeah.
So we went, got the U-Haul, and we loaded everything up that day. And we left and drove straight to Orlando, Florida that day. We got there, I want to say it was the following morning, probably around 10 or 11 o'clock. We finally got there, and we pulled up to the house. I was like, this is it, because I hadn't seen it, right? I told her I didn't want to see it. So I was like, this is it. So I remember walking in, man. I remember walking in, and I don't know if it was just from the being up, sleep deprivation or what, but I just remember walking in, I just started bawling. I was like, I'd never imagined I could live in a house like this, you know? It was humbling for sure. And what was even more humbling is 2 weeks later, the pandemic hit.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So now I can't go to work. I moved down there, got these big boy bills, right?
Yeah.
You know, and it just did not pan out very well for me. So we stayed until probably June the same year. I mean, we stayed for a while. The kids loved it. We went to the beach during the pandemic. Man, we went to the beach probably 2 or 3 times a week.
That's rare for somebody that lives at the beach. They never go.
Yeah, well, we weren't used to it, right? We had just got down there good. So it was like, let's do this.
Yeah.
We had a blast down there. But anyway, so that's what I did. I sold timeshare, right? So this is all going back to the first question you asked was,
I don't even remember what the first question.
What do I do? Why am I flying out every?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I had to go back to. I didn't have to come back home, but I was going to have to live in a box, a cardboard box, if I didn't. So we come back, left from I want to say it was 3,500 square foot home into probably an 800 square foot home at best.
Yeah.
That was built in 1930 something. My rent was $300 a week. Put it to you that way. And I had trouble paying that at the time. Like it was just, our world changed so drastically during that time, but we still made do. So we made it happen.
Yeah.
But it wasn't easy.
Did you save any money when you were selling timeshares, or?
No, that's crazy. Why would I do that? That's too responsible, man. That's too responsible. No, it wasn't that I didn't save. Well, that played a part, but the worst part was you got to imagine not getting a paycheck from the time, let's say March until August. Was that January? Was it March? April, May, June, July, August. That's 5 months of living in a house that cost me $3,500 to lease. So those add up, not including the power bills, not including everything else in between. So it drained me, and I guess I was holding on to the hope that it would get back to where it was, so I didn't have to come crawling back home. In a sense, I was holding on to it so much that I think I just kind of stayed too long. And it made it very toxic. But like I said, so I come back home and I try to go sell cars because I just can't work a 9 to 5. I've owned my own business my whole life, or so I've done what I've done. I'm used to making a different type of money in a sense of for my time, I guess. When I done siding and windows, it wasn't always beautiful, but whenever you would, just like Kanye said, every time I win, it's like the Super Bowl, right? That's how it is in timeshare and in construction. Anyway, so I was at the house one day, and I was like, you know what? And I was going through some things mentally, man. I was drinking real bad. I was getting into a dark place. I really was, and I was. I mean, it was as bad as you can imagine.
Yeah.
So a friend reached out during that time and said, "Hey, man, would you like to come sell cars up here?" And I said, "Yeah, they'll get me out of the house with nothing else." But man, I enjoyed the people I worked with. They were funny. I don't know if you know Brad Ferguson or any of them guys from Evans Kia, but shout out to them cats. But
my dad actually he works on printers for some Kia place. I don't know. Yeah.
So I enjoyed the time there. It was just the money wasn't the same, man.
Yeah.
Like,
it wasn't no timeshare money, man.
Yeah, these guys, you know, I mean, to be the top salesperson, it takes a lot in the car lot, because you have to be there for years to build your clientele. You got to do a lot of stuff that I didn't know about. You know, I was watching this one guy, and I would watch him, and he would go stand out by the road. You know, everybody else stands outside the door waiting for somebody to walk up.
Yeah.
He was out there by the road where they pull in at. so I'm starting to peep game a little bit, but it was just, man, you know, when you work 5-6 days straight, dark to dark for the most part, walking around on the concrete and everything, and I look at my paycheck of what I made, and I'm like, this is not it, bro. This is not it. This isn't what I do.
Yeah.
So one day I got a random phone call, because I'd already made a decision. I'm like, man, I do not want to pack my kids up and haul them somewhere else. Like, it's not healthy to keep moving them around like that. The only reason why we went to Nashville was because of what happened with my heart situation, and it was just kind of like, let's try this if it's as easy as he says it is, which it wasn't. But we can. That's neither here nor there. But I was like, let's just do that instead. But we when it comes to the car business, it takes a lot out of you. And I said, the paycheck isn't reflecting. So I got blessed one day. I got a phone call from this random person that says, "Hey, man, I heard about you through the grapevine. What we do is we get people out of timeshares." I was like, "Huh?" So I'm going against the grain now. Like, what's this? He's like, he said, you know, so he I guess he called himself interviewing me, and I was just like, "All right, what's up?" You know, he's like, "Well, what's your biggest month at Wyndham?" And I told him. He said, "You're hired." I said, I guess that meant to him that I was good at my job. And I said, "Well,
what was the biggest month?"
65,000.
Dang.
So I asked him, I said, "Oh, that's nothing."
Yeah.
I wasn't even close to the top dog. I mean, there's literally, I ain't gonna call them by names, but they're up there, and man, they're making $1 million a year, 1.2 million a year. Like, they're consistent. They're consistent. You're talking about driving nice brand new G-Wagons. One of them just bought a Rolls Royce.
Dang.
I mean, this is all just selling timeshare.
Yeah.
You don't have to have a college degree.
Maybe
I have a felony on my record, and they hired me on the spot. You know, so but it truly is a beautiful thing that you can make more money than your doctor, or a lawyer, just to sit there in a suit and talk to people.
Yeah, it's like there is no ceiling almost.
No, there's not. There really isn't, bro. So
dang, I need to check that out, bro.
Definitely should. It's pretty awesome.
Link.
I can get you hooked up with them. I'm still friends with all of them.
Dang.
But yeah, so you know, I get this phone call from this guy, and he's questioning me, you know, or interviewing me. And I was like, yeah. I said, well, let me ask you this. How much does your top salesperson make? Because he said they only work 2 days a week. And I was like, anything is better. I would have went and washed dishes somewhere and sold cars. And I'm not trying to like take a jab at anybody that sells cars, because I mean it's a hustle. It's a gangster hustle.
It's almost like scamming, bro.
Well, I can't say selling cars is. That's neither here nor there as far as some other sales positions go, but I mean, it's just a hustle. Like, you have to be on top of the game. If you want to be the number one rep selling a car, you've got to be outside at all times. You got to really grind it out. So I mean, I got nothing but respect for him. But like I said, he said that his top guy makes $400,000 a year, and I started doing my math, and I said, well, because I'm going to strive to be number one at some point. That's just me. I'm a competitive person, so I'm like, well, let's go. Let's do this thing. So he flew me out. He's like, yeah, I'll fly you out. So I remember he flew me down to Bradenton, Florida. Get down there, And because I'd asked him, I said, how long have you been in business? I'm trying to interview him a little bit too. I want to make sure this is legit before I go.
Random sketch call, man.
I was in a position in my life where I could not make a mistake. Like if I made a mistake, I mean, I basically couldn't lose much else other than my family.
Yeah.
But I was at a bad spot. And he's like, oh, we've been in business 8 months. We've been killing it. Yada, yada, yada. Man, I get down there and I find out that I was there on day one that this company started. I wanted to put my hands on Buddy. But there was a guy there named Blake, and Blake was awesome. And he kind of kept me dialed in. He's like, hey, man, this guy's an idiot. Okay. But I'm going to help. I've been doing this for years. I'm going to help you get through this right here. We're going to sort this out. So we did make it happen, and I eventually got pretty good at that too, and that's what I've been doing ever since. I started up a boxing gym, so I'd come off the road because I wanted to focus on that. But I found out real quick, like I learned from that pandemic thing, I wasn't going to wait too long before I. So I was like, all right, I got to get back to work. Excuse me. So yeah, I fly out Tuesday evenings. And I fly home early Friday mornings. So yesterday when I flew in, I got here. I landed at 10:30 in the morning in Augusta, and I was in Dallas, Texas. So the only time my family don't actually see me is Wednesday and Thursday. Besides that, they see me on the days I leave. They see me on the days when I get home. So I'm not really. I'm only missing 2 days, but it still kills me because I don't want my kids to ever look back and say, "Well, Dad was gone on this day. Dad, when this happened, Dad wasn't there. My daddy wasn't there on this day." And so I try to make it up for them and do as much as I possibly can on the days that I am there. I don't want them to think that I'm out there chasing money, but at the same time, in order for us to live the life that I feel like they deserve, I've got to sacrifice a little bit of that too. And hopefully when they grow up and they look back at it, they don't have any resentments towards me for it. Because I definitely don't put my job before them. I never have, never will. My son fought last week, and I took the entire week off of work because I didn't want to possibly get stuck at an airport somewhere and not make it home.
Yeah.
So, I'm always conscious of the decisions that I make when it comes to their time with them. So that's why I don't want to go back to selling timeshare, because selling timeshare, I have to work 5-6 days a week still. Yeah. Even though I get off around about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the evening doing that, it's hard to beat. Like when you get good at what I'm doing right now, you cannot. It's by far probably the best job in the world because you get to travel, you get to see new things, meet new people. At the same time, you get to make good money. Yeah, and you just kind of get away from everything for a little while. Part of it makes me feel bad for my wife because she don't get to go get those getaways. Yeah, I was actually able to kind of bless her a little bit. Probably 6 months ago, maybe longer. A Shania Twain concert up in Charlotte, so I flew her up there to meet her friend, and her friend went to this concert, and they had a good time together. So I kind of like doing small things like that for her too, because at the same time, she's the backbone of the game. She's on it. Yeah, she's got to keep the house clean, got to keep everything straight with the boys, got to take them to here and there, doctor's appointments, this, that, and the third. Whenever I'm gone, guess who has to be at the boxing gym to help train these kids? She does, because I'm gone. She trains them? Yeah. So then on top of that, she's also has a job. She works PRN at a hospital doing radiology. So shout out to my wife. I love you. Thank you for everything that you do, because I know it's a lot. And meanwhile, I'm out there. As far as she sees it, it's a vacation for me. But I get it. It's not because the stress of that. It's a different type of exhaustion in the sales, 100% commission-based sales. Because if you don't sell, you don't eat. Yeah, and it's up to me to bring home the bacon for the family to make any of this stuff possible, as far as the boxing gym and all of that. Because it does take a lot out of you. Yeah. But like I said, if I didn't have that, I wouldn't have a gym to help hopefully get these kids off the streets and get them in the right direction. Yeah. And you asked me one question, and I just took this to it took me 30 minutes to get to the answer, but I wanted you to understand why I do what I do and how it come along. So I had to back up just a little bit.
That's all good. But yeah. So what do you do now? You said you go against the grain of selling timeshares. Like, what is it? You get people out of it?
Yeah, timeshare exit. Yeah. It's because it's hard to sell people in timeshare. People come in there because I was saying earlier, there's a difference between frontline and in-house. Frontline is people that don't own yet, And in-house is you work with people that do own. So they know a lot about what they have, especially if you're new. These people have been owning for 20 plus years. And you're going to come in and you know nothing about it. You're going to try to hang with these guys and sell them? Good luck, sir. I've been there. It takes a different breed to hang in there. But I was determined on that end. But with Exit, you would think it would be easy because they always come into the timeshare world saying, "Oh, I hate my timeshare. I hate you people. You salespeople are the worst. We hate you." I mean, they truly. I mean, I've heard it all. And Exit, you would think that it would be easy to say, "Okay, here's how much it's going to cost to get you out of it."
Yeah.
You would think. Man, listen, it is easier in a lot of aspects, but you still got a lot of people that come in there, and you have to. The good news about timeshare is you're with a company that's in business they've been with for 20 plus years. Like they know where to come find you. What I do is we're in different locations. We're selling them out of the convention centers or whatever, the business rooms of these hotels. So they come in, we do a presentation and feed them, and then we sit down and we go over the numbers of what they have and what the resort company requests to have them removed. And sometimes they don't like that number. So it's once again, that's just part of it. Yeah. But I do sleep a lot better at night doing what I do now. Yeah. I tell you that. I do sleep a lot better. But at the same time, it would be nice to get off the road at some point. This is not where I want to be when Jesus comes back, my friend. I want to be. I think we all would want to be wherever our paradise is, I guess. But mine isn't being on the road away from my family. That's for sure.
Yeah, so getting people out of it, is it like you're breaking a lease and helping them with the fee of that or something?
It's actually, you say that because I use it as a example to owners every time I sit with them. I explain to them, like, the way the resort companies look at it is they're looking at it like, okay, well, here's 10 years of maintenance fees. And like I said, this is all hypothetically speaking in a sense. So you got 10 years of maintenance fees. The resort company wants as a lease break as far as, and I tell them, it's just like if you guys have a commercial building downtown, right? I come to you, I say, hey, I want to open up a boxing gym, and I want to use your building. You say, okay, Shawn, no problem. That's going to be $4,000 a month for 12-month lease. Sign right here, and I sign it. Yeah. Now, let's say 3 months comes around, and I come to you and I say, hey, man, business isn't going the way I want it to. I just want to walk away from my lease. Yeah. Are you going to let me just walk away?
No, I'm going to have to fine you or something.
Absolutely not. and they'll answer with that same answer every time because it's true. They won't. Neither does the resort company. You're going to have to pay a resort company something to get rid of it. So, in a sense, we come up with those numbers and whatever's feasible for the owner and is affordable for them, then that's the option we take. You know, it could take up to 18 months to get them out of it. But at the end of the day, they're saving a lot of money, man. These maintenance fees are getting crazy. I mean, you've seen what the price of food went up the last 2 years, 2 or 3 years. Well, the same thing's going on with their maintenance fees. Their maintenance fees go up every single year. And it's just not the product that it was built to be now. Yeah. I mean, some people that works for them, they love their timeshare. But what I found is a lot of people, there's more people that don't love their timeshare. Because in the timeshare industry, when you're selling timeshare, somebody walks in that loves their timeshare, you're like, oh man, this is a unicorn. I came in to buy more points because I didn't have enough. Like that hardly, I mean, I may have seen that happen twice the 2 years that I've done it up in Nashville. So, I mean, people come in and you've got grown people acting like babies. I mean, these are, you talking 50, 60, 70-year-old people acting like babies, you know, and talking to you sideways. And it takes a lot. It grew me up a lot. Yeah. Words used to hurt. Yeah. Words used to bother me when somebody didn't like me. But they taught me that oh, you hate me? That is awesome. Follow me this way, guys. Like nothing ever happened. But yeah, that's what we do. We charge them a fee to get them out of it. And we always like to base it off of the maintenance fees, just as a kind of a temperature check to make sure that we're not overcharging anyone for any kind of service that we're doing. So, like I said, what we do is great. I love the company I work for. They treat me great, and I'm just blessed to have that opportunity because there's a lot of people that would like to be in my shoes in that sense. Yeah. Yeah.
Are they hiring, or like how hard is it to get in that kind of job?
It's hard to get into that one. And the reason being is because you've got to have some kind of a background because the first day you show up, they're expecting revenue coming from you. The chances of a brand new person. Now, there was a couple of companies I worked for before that would have been like, I said, hey, I got my guy here. I want to bring him on. They've been like, all right, Shawn, no problem. Bring him on. Because, I mean, I can sell mine and yours until you learn how to do it. Like, sit there with you, let you ride, that's what we call it, ride on the table with me. and learn it. But the company I work for now, they're only hiring dogs, like people that's been doing it for years, top riders only type thing. So, but I can definitely get you hooked up with Wyndham, and I've got friends up there. I tell you what, I got a good friend of mine that I met doing Exit. His name's Kevin. I got him doing it. He come to me, he's like, Shawn, I really want to work for Wyndham, blah, blah, blah. So I said, I know some folks. So he was 21 years old. He's 22 now, I think. He's still a baby, but this dude is good at his job, buddy. He just bought a Lamborghini about 4 or 5 months ago. He paid cash for it. Yeah, it's like 200 something. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Now this cat's also got several things. You know, he owns a metal company. He made a lot of money with Bitcoin, and he put it into places, and he owns storage units up in like Wyoming or something, and that's what. Because when I saw the Lambo, I was working down in Orlando doing what I do now. Yeah, and I was like, hey man, I'm in your neck of the woods, come see me. So he brought the Lambo over because I always wanted to drive one. Yeah, right? Who doesn't? So man, I get inside this thing, and I'm sitting up. I mean, I think it's an Aventador. I'm sitting up with my feet like this. It's not built for people like us, brother. I'm sorry, but dang it, man, it was brutal getting out. I had to have help getting out. So anyway,
help getting out of a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
You must be balling, man.
He's
or
balling.
He was, I guess.
He's balling. Yeah.
Was he a big dude or?
Nah, man. Kevin's probably 5. Kevin, if you watch this, I'm not trying to shoot you or nothing, but I think he's like 5'7".
Dang, man.
He's somewhere in there, give or take. But yeah, so he fits in there like a glove. Man, he's good. But when I was riding, my head was sitting like this. Like legit, my head would have to sit like that because I was hitting the ceiling.
Imagine I had a T-top though. That would have fit perfect, man.
I'm telling you, yeah, it would have been great. It would have been useful for sure. But I remember getting out and I saw his tag said Wyoming, and I said, Wyoming, Kevin, what's in Wyoming? He said, oh, that's my storage building. I said, oh, so he bought it like I guess maybe it could be some kind of, I don't know if it's a write-off or not. I don't know how he does it. That's his business. And clearly he's smarter than I am when it comes to those things. Dang. But yeah, he just bought a brand new G-Wagon about a month ago. Now that is he bought that for a tax write-off because apparently you get tax write-offs every single year if you own a G-Wagon, a certain type of G-Wagon. So he bought a G-Wagon. Yeah, he's the #1 rep at the site that he's at now, which was a site that I left, Nashville. Dang, he's up there with a lot of my compadres. So they're taking care of him, and you can't help but love Kevin. He, like I said, he's 21 or 20. He's 22 now, and he's funny. But he asks a lot of questions. Yeah. So that's what makes him so good at his job is you should be asking the questions and letting that person tell you how to sell them in a sense. And he's so good at asking questions. Like he truly cares. I mean, he does care. So that's why he's good at what he does.
You know, it shows that he cares.
Yeah, he's an interesting person.
Oh my gosh, I don't even know what I would do with that kind of money, bro.
You'd blow it. I promise you. Yeah, absolutely you would.
I don't know, bro. I'm counting pennies now these days.
Well, as long as you remember this hardship where you're at when you get there, but it's so easy, man. I have the pen I write with costs $1,400.
What?
Yeah. So let me tell you a story of that. I mean, it sounds stupid, right?
A $1,400 pen.
It is stupid, but I remember when I first went to Wyndham to work, and like I said, I'm just country bunking from Thompson. Right? I've never been around these types of people before. Yeah. So I walk in and I'm working at a table one day, and I asked the guy, there's like, hey man, can I borrow your pen? He said, no. I said, a pen? You can only borrow your pen? He said, man, this is a $400 pen. I said, you paid $400 for a pen? He said, yeah. I said, bro, you're an idiot. Fast forward 2 years, right? You're sitting there with your bonus check, and you're like, I don't know what to do with the money. I mean, this is how bad it was. I went and bought this pen. I come back home. My wife was like, Shawn, this is bad. Like, you shouldn't buy this pen. So I was like, yeah, you're right. So I took it back.
You returned a pen?
The next day, I went and picked it right back up again. I was like, no, this is like, I had time to think about it. I want my pen back.
No.
So I got my pen, and I bought it. I want to say it was in 2019. Yeah, 2019. And I still got it. I write with it every week. I have it in my bag. But yeah, it's a Mont Blanc. Yeah,
you should have brought that on, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, I guess when I decided I was gonna get stupid, I decided I was gonna out stupid everybody else. I was like, I want the most expensive pen on the floor. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, but if you look at it in a sense, like technicians or mechanics, or they like to be called technicians, No disrespect, mechanics. They all. I drove for Snap-on for years too, long time ago, and they all like to be called technicians.
Technician expert.
Yeah, I'm not a mechanic. I'm a technician. Okay, yes, sir. Absolutely, you are. I apologize for the disrespect.
Finish changing that oil, boy.
Yeah.
Get back to work, boy.
Hey, listen, man. Check it. So, but you get the Snap-on truck comes by,
Yeah.
and what I learned when I was selling that is that a lot of the technicians, I can't even say it. A lot of the mechanics, what they like is they like to have nice stuff too, and you can tell the best in a sense of who's great by what they like. If I pull up and I see a roll cart from, if I've got 2 bays to choose from, I pull them a car for somebody to work on it, and I see a guy that's got something from Harbor Freight, and I look over and I see the guy that's got the Snap-on box, the Snap-on this, that, and the third. I know this guy's been doing it a while.
Yeah.
This guy's at the top of his game. I want him to work on my car. So that, in a sense, for me, I mean, a lot of these, thank goodness, a lot of the owners that owned the timeshares never really understood what kind of pen I had. Because it's not like they would be like, hey, send me to the salesperson that's got the $1,400 pen.
Yeah.
They would never want to do that. But it was kind of like a beat your chest on the floor type thing, I guess. I mean, because there's nothing else you can do other than buy nice suits and nice shoes. And, I mean, those get crazy too. I mean, $1,000 belts.
Oh, my gosh.
Not me, bro. To this day, I do not wear anything crazy like that. I don't wear anything crazy like that. I paid for that pen, and I haven't paid over $100. Well, I bought one suit, and that was $1,000, like $1,200. That's the only thing I've ever done is buy one suit for the last 4 years, and I don't even wear it because I can't fit in it anymore.
Dang.
Yeah,
Let's get on some Weight Watchers or something. I don't know.
Well, yeah. I mean, I've never been this big. I'm 315 pounds right now.
Dang, the cut would be insane, bro.
Oh, I'm cutting it. I decided I'm going to fight again. I have to.
Dang.
I have to have something to look forward to for me to jump on that horse because I've been so complacent for years. Apparently, to gain.
Yeah.
I mean, I usually walk around. Typically, when I first went sold timeshare, I was weighing about 240. Now I'm 315, and I mean a sloppy 315.
Yeah.
It was hard getting in these pants, but true story. I told my wife, literally, I was standing there, I was like, it was unbuttoned, right? And I was like, you want to see a magic trick? She's like, yeah, because it was going here. I was like, you want to see a magic trick? So I turned around, I put it on, I said, ta-da, it fits. Thank you, Buckle. These things got a little elasticity to them.
If you paid a couple $1,000s for pants, you'd probably fit in them.
Yeah, that would never happen.
Magic pants or something.
That would never
Had
happen.
an adjustable size.
Like I said, I bought that pen, and anytime I get down on hard times, I just look at that pen and remember how stupid I was. Like, how? Here I am hurting for money, and I've got a $1,400 pen sitting in my bag. Like that's crazy. But like I said, I had the same thought process you did when I first went too. But there comes a time when you're like, you know what? I'm tired of writing with this little bic. I want some good stuff over here.
I want to take a payment out on this pen, man.
Yeah.
But I want to build my credit on this thing.
But like I said, it comes back to you saying, you don't think you'd blow it. You probably wouldn't. I've always had a issue because I've always liked nice things.
Yeah.
I've just always liked nice things my whole life. I just I want the best of whatever it is because I know I'm getting good quality. But my wife is the opposite. If my wife she went to do timeshare what I was doing and just say, I mean, we'd be much better off. For sure.
Yeah.
Because she grew up poor in a sense, and she never had that. Like for me, I did get a taste of the good life when I was a kid. My dad made pretty good money. So I never had to worry about where I was going to eat at, where I was going to get my meal from, those types of things. And she has. So like she's a lot more frugal with the money. But she's starting to loosen up these days. But there was a time, man, where I was like, I was the worst. And I think we're starting to slowly get on the same page. Like she's loosened up a little bit and I've tightened up a little bit.
Yeah.
But
that's the opposite of my girlfriend. She was definitely pretty poor growing up, but dang it, she don't like expensive things.
Yeah.
It's her and her 2 sisters and her mom. they like expensive things, man.
Hey, at least you're a smart guy. You know to take care of the rest of the family when you can.
Yeah, yeah.
I wasn't that smart. My mother-in-law sure does love me. Yeah.
But that I just can't, like, I've never heard of like selling timeshares like that to where you're making that much money.
I had never heard of it either. A lot of people around here don't, because there's not a timeshare sales floor here.
Yeah.
You can work at one in Atlanta. There's a few in Atlanta, Margaritaville and stuff like that by Wyndham. It's just not here. Yeah, people don't travel to Augusta but one time a year.
Yeah.
1 week out of the year is when Augusta is popular. So, yeah, unless you can sell Airbnb tickets to houses, like, there's really not a whole lot you can do. And I'm pretty sure there's probably good money in that, too, if you know how to hustle it right. I wouldn't know where to begin.
Yeah.
But, yeah, man, you've got to... If you're open to that idea, I can definitely put you in contact with some folks, man.
That sounds good, man. But
but just know, I tell everybody the same thing, because I wasn't given this courtesy. Save up your money. Be prepared, because you're not going to make a lot starting out unless you just, I mean, by the grace of God, you just come out of there killing it.
yeah.
I've seen people do it, but with not having any type of background, have the same type of background I got for the most part.
Yeah.
Not knowing about it, it's a lot. So just be prepared for that. Like I said, it took me 6 to 8 months. I'm a slow learner.
Yeah.
You're probably smarter than me, so you might catch on a lot faster. I'm not kidding. It took me a long time, but I weathered that storm. I've seen a lot of people in my training class that was supposed to be better than me, and they were out 3 months in.
Really?
Because they were like, the heck with this, I'm not making any money. For me, I kept seeing these people with their big bonus checks, and I'm sitting here watching them. I'm watching what they pull up in, and some of these people come from very humble backgrounds too.
Yeah.
And to see that they're making what they're making, I said, well, if he can do it, I can do it. It's just going to take time. So,
yeah.
Man, I kid you not, we drove 6.5 hours every single week. I would drive. I would leave work. I would get off work about 2:30, and I would drive straight to Thompson. I would do my work for 2 days straight, and I would leave at that night after working all day. It would be nighttime by the time I knocked off. I would drive. My wife would drive me so I could get some sleep.
Yeah.
Leave from there, go back home to Mount Juliet, Tennessee, and it would be about 3 a.m. So I would lay down for about 3 hours, wake up, and have to go back to work. I've done that. I kid you not, for 6 to 8 months for sure.
Really?
Yeah, it was crazy. It was hard for me to burn that boat.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have people that I can call on to just float me $5,000 to survive. I just didn't have it. So I had to make sure that I just had to grind it out, bro. So that's all there is to it. So just be prepared. If you want that lifestyle, it's just going to take you time, but I promise you, you'll do well.
Yeah.
If you just stick in there with it, you'll do very well.
Yeah. I feel like the scary part is selling the stuff. Like, is it that hard? Like,
Yeah, it is.
It's pretty hard.
It is. Now, once you get good at it, it's not hard.
Yeah.
But there's just so many working pieces that come into it, all the way from the first time you meet them. Like, you got to set a good impression immediately, because they're just as much as you're judging them, they're judging you too.
Yeah.
So something as simple as giving them the order of the day, which is, hey guys, this is what we're going to do today. I want to get you some breakfast right here. I'm going to sit you down here. I'm going to get you seated. If you give them the order of the day, they don't have to sit here and worry what's next. Right?
Yeah.
So it takes their mind off. It's small things like that you have to do. The discovery, which is asking them questions, second, third level questions. So if you ask me, so like if I ask you, when's the last time you've been on vacation? You tell me when, right? And if I just, okay, cool, I'll go to the next question. Well, I didn't find out from you where, why you choose that location. I didn't find any of those things. I didn't find out who went with you. I didn't find any of those things out. Right? And a lot of it's psychological, to where you want these people to remember the great times they've had on this vacation. So that way, hopefully, you can sell them some more.
Yeah.
Right?
Dang.
So, it's a lot goes into it. Then you got to do what's called turning the hat, because you're making a friend, but you don't want to make too much of a friend. You make too much of a friend, then it's going to be hard to sell them.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard. It makes it easier for them to tell you no. Like, no. And then now you can't all of a sudden turn the hat and go into the dark realm of hardcore pressure sales, because you didn't earn it. You overplayed yourself.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that goes into it, all the way down to the closing of it, tying down. Tie downs is, if you tell me, hey, my kids don't want this timeshare. Like for what I'm doing right now, right?
Yeah.
My kids don't want this timeshare. Well, a lot of their objections at the end, or smoke screens is what we call them, because the only true objection is money. But if they can't afford it, they just can't afford it. But besides that, the rest of it's just smoke screens. It's just excuses. It's basically what a smoke screen is. So, well, my kids, they don't want it. They tell me that up front. A lot of the times at the back end, they'll like to say, well, I need to ask my kids first if they want it, right?
Yeah.
So up front, whenever I ask a question, like, hey, do your kids want this thing? No, they don't. So I'll say, so your kids do not want this thing, right? No, they do not. Okay, so at no point your kids has ever said, I want this timeshare. Like, no, they hate it. Okay, great. Then I move to the next question.
Yeah.
And the reason I do that is because they've made it solid. They have solidified to me. Their kids do not want it, so they cannot use that as a smoke screen later. You see? So I'm taking away their future. What they're going to naturally say, I'm taking it away from them before I get to that part. Like I said, it's a lot of, but once it, and the thing about timeshare too is just like golf. In sales, it's just like golf. If you don't keep sharpening your skills, if you don't keep up with it, stay on it, man, you'll lose it. You'll lose it. So, but it's rewarding.
Yeah.
So, like I said, it's just those small types of things right there that a lot of people don't realize goes into the sales world.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's scary, bro.
Yeah,
that
man.
seems scary, man.
It is, but man, it's fun. It is fun. I do love what I do. I just hate that I have to be away from my family to do it.
Dang. So can I ask how much do you make now, or what's like the average?
The average is probably $5 to $6 grand a week, I would say.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
That's pretty good.
I sure hope the IRS don't watch this. No, I've had weeks where I've made 26,000 working for 2 days, and then I've had weeks where I've made zero. I've had weeks where I've made $0 for 3 weeks in a row. And what it averages out typically to be is around 200 a year, 250 a year.
Now, do you get bonuses with that as well?
Oh yeah, yeah, man, yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
What do the bonuses look like?
Typically, you'll have an extra maybe 30 grand on a when you've had a very good month.
Yeah.
Right? You hit top level. Top level is when you sell 200,000 for the month, or 180,000 for us, and it's not hard to obtain as long as you stay there. Like last week, I didn't work. Well, this past week I worked, but last week I took the whole week off. Right?
Yeah.
So my numbers don't look that great for the month. I'm still in I still hit a few bonus levels, I think, but it was nothing
Dang.
to ring home about, But like my next week's paycheck's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Be real good actually. But once again, I can sit here and talk to you about how much money I make, but if I do that, I got to at least tell you how much money I don't make. Because it's not like I'm out here crushing it either, because I've got a lot going on too. I have a boxing gym. My son boxes. I've got fighters that's fighting. I've got a lot going on at home too. So when I come home, like my tools aren't as sharpened as they could be if all I had to focus on was sales. But hey, I'm happy with what I make. The older I've gotten, I've realized that there's one thing you don't get back is time, and I'd rather have that time than have all the money in the world and all of this. I chased my money. I've chased all of that, done it, been there, done it 2 times over again, and just watching how fast my kids growing up. Like I don't want to. Like I want to truly be able to enjoy the time, because I know it's not going to be here very long.
Yeah. Dang, why do you say that? Very long.
They grow fast, man. It truly feels like it was just yesterday. My 9-year-old was a baby. And I know people you'll understand it one day, because I never understood it either. All the parents are like, you better, time flies. I'm like, okay, bro. Okay, you were 18 forever ago.
Yeah.
But man, time does fly, and it breaks my heart to see my son grow up. I was like, man, I just stay here, man. Stay this age.
Come on, man.
Come on, don't make. And it's not even about making me old. I'm fine with getting old. I'm happy with getting old. I don't mind that at all. It's just watching them get old. I don't like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah.
You'll. I mean, it's hard for me to put into perspective. But
it's probably you couldn't even probably describe it in words.
I'm trying to, and I can't. I don't know how to put it.
Yeah. Dang, man. That's crazy. Yeah, because I want like 5 or 6 kids, bro. I want a lot of
Yeah,
kids,
you
man.
definitely need to go see a timeshare. You know, it doesn't matter if you have 1 or if you have 5. I done figured that out as far as what it takes to survive in this world economically, because you're either going to spend all your money on that 1 kid, or you're either going to spend all your money on 5 of them. So at the end of the day, nothing's going to change for you. You're still going to be working.
It'll probably even out.
Yeah. I mean, hey, you know.
Yeah.
Yes, instead of eating a big, taking the whole family out for steak dinners or to the hibachi place, it's like, hey, I'm going to cook something at home for y'all. But it's still going to cost you the same, just about, in the long run.
You're having chicken and rice for the 3rd night in a row.
Yeah, that's it, guys. Do y'all want egg in it or no egg?
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, I'm hoping this podcast stuff will pay off.
Man, I hope it does too for you, brother. I love the idea. The setup is amazing.
Thank you, bro.
I mean, I wouldn't know where to begin. I really wouldn't.
Yeah.
But I really like this outfit, man. This is strong, brother.
Thank you, bro. I'm trying to get my own studio. So
Yeah.
hopefully within the next year. So maybe go sell timeshares or something.
Get you a studio. So what you're saying is like maybe rent a business area, like a little building inside of a shopping center type thing. And
Yeah, something like I think that'd be cool. But I mean, just the rent for that alone would be expensive. You know, this itself would have to be like making money. To where.
Oh, I try.
Yeah,
That's where I am with the boxing gym.
Yeah,
brother.
you know how it is. Yeah, but even like building onto this part, or like just having a room. It's not in the middle of my living room.
Is this yours? This place yours?
Well, yeah, it's me and my girlfriend's. Yeah, that's why it's decorated.
Never get rid of this place, bro. Keep this place. I'm telling you, if you ever get ready to sell it, call me, because I promise you, I'd love to have it. Man, they're wanting $500,000 for a house that 5-6 years ago cost $150,000. It's crazy to me. I literally had friends up in Nashville that bought their house for $500,000 and turned around 6 months later and sold it for $750,000. Profited $250,000 off of it.
That's crazy.
Legit.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't know that was going to happen. But when they saw the opportunity, they said, yeah, let's do this. Well, what do you know? It's time for me to head on down to Orlando and go work for a little while.
Dang. Let's profit $250,000. $250,000.
Yeah.
But yeah, we didn't pay anything for this, bro. All this land.
You would be slap crazy to leave this place. I'm telling you. How old are you?
23.
Yeah, you would be slap crazy to leave this place, because I know in your head, I know what you're thinking.
Yeah,
man, I want this big house. I want this. Go make that same amount of money and all you do is sleep here.
Yeah,
that's what it took me a long time to learn. Is man, all you do is go to sleep here. I couldn't tell you. I don't spend a lot of time at home. Like you just don't. Like there's other things you can go out and go do.
Yeah,
man.
You don't pay rent, nothing, bro.
No, you cannot beat that, man. You really can't. I promise you can't.
Nah, and everything, like all the house and stuff, it's all on my girlfriend's family's land, bro. So like, the only thing we pay is internet and electric, bro.
Man, never leave. I'm telling you, never leave. or just keep it for just in case purposes.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you. I would love to be able to be like, yep, I don't have any rent. I don't have any mortgage. I don't have any, like the cars. I said, you know what, man, I'm done with car payments, 100% done with them. If I can't afford the cash, I can't afford it. I'm done having payments. Because all it does is put stress on me, especially when you're 100% commission-based sales.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, every time I win, it's like I hit it's like I win the Super Bowl. But the problem is when I don't hit, I feel like I just crapped out all my money in Vegas.
You're playing in the powder puff league, bro.
Yeah, it's like
two-hand tag.
Yeah, it's like what am I going to do? What am I going to do?
Yeah, I saw that big SUV you drove up in, man. It's pimping, bro.
Man, don't ever buy an Infinity. If anybody that works at Infinity that hears this, your cars are trash. Listen, yeah, man. That car, first off, it's a gas drinking son of a gun. It's a V8, and I mean, it gets like 12 miles to the gallon. It's falling apart. It has the most outdated, it's 2016. It has outdated electronics inside of it. It's just so outdated. I bought it 2019 or 2020, and I was like, I shouldn't have bought this car. Like I felt immediately like we shouldn't have got this car. But it's all falling apart. I didn't hit a deer with it. And
Dang.
didn't even stop. Just kept going. But the whole front end, like, yeah, it looks good from the side. Let's put it to you that way.
Yeah.
But
I didn't see the front of it.
the transmission starting to slip. I'm just like, man, this car should not be doing that. It's only got like 130,000 miles, something like that. God. So it shouldn't be having these issues. You take it. I had my wife take it up to infinity because the transmission was slipping. This was probably 8-9 months ago.
Yeah.
She takes it up there. I was like, it needs transmission fluid. So she takes it up there and tells him, they was like, we don't do transmission. We don't put transmission fluid in. We do a transmission flush. I was like, oh, okay, that was the technician talking right there. That's what they mean by technician. He's putting one on her, right? He's like, we do a transmission flush. So then he tells her how he comes back out and tells her he done broke it down. We're gonna need to do some work to the transmission. The transmission's messed up. Yada yada yada. I said, tell him to just put transmission fluid in it, please. So he done his flush. Car drove purrs like a kitten, and it could be that again.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm not gonna be doing a transmission flush every 6 months for a car that I paid too much money for. Like, no. Heck with that.
Is that the most expensive car you bought? Or were you like the other guys where you were buying a lot of cars every month?
No, man. When you have, look.
Listen, I guess it was different because you had kids.
When I just started getting really good at my job, was about a month before the pandemic hit. Now I will say this: I'd made $120,000 from January, February, March, because so basically within 2 months, because they shut everything down in March. So within 2 months' time, I'd made over 100. I'd made $120,000. So
Dang.
This was going to be my breakout year. This was going to be the year where I was going to make $500,000 or $750,000. Mm-hmm. And the pandemic hit, so I was like,
dang,
yeah,
that's crazy.
But yeah, now if I was 21, 22, 23, 24, you and your girlfriend, man, hey, go out and enjoy yourself. Go. It's definitely lucrative for sure. Yeah. It is. It just it's all up here. Like there's no lonelier place, I guess.
Yeah.
Than whenever you're just not doing good sales.
Yeah. Yeah, my girl, we were talking last night. She's like, yeah, I've always dreamed about living in a different country. And I was like, man, I make $18 an hour. Good luck with that.
Well, I tell you what, they've got sales positions. I really wanted to at one point was to take my kids and us go to St. Thomas, Virgin Islands. There's a Margaritaville there. And I was like, and I had a person say, hey, you want to come work down here? I was like, but my wife was like, no, we don't want to take the kids away from the grandparents, all of that good stuff. But man, have you ever been to St. Thomas?
Nah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It is beautiful, and it's American soil, so you don't have to have a passport and none of that special stuff. But it's beautiful, man. And Hawaii, you can go work all over the place. If she's down to go live somewhere else, timeshare is going to be where you're going to. If you're making 18 or 17 or however much an hour now, you're going to basically be making that if you don't sell anything. You're just going to have to pay it back, because what they do is they'll front you. You'll get like a $400 paycheck in a sense, but that's if you don't sell anything that whole week.
Yeah.
But if you sell stuff that week, the following week, if you had the bar, if they gave you $400 the first, because you didn't sell nothing that week, the following week, let's say you write business, right? So that paycheck, that $400 is going to come back out of that paycheck.
Okay.
But the rest is all you. So once you're making $4-5 a week, there you don't have to worry about that. The types of issues you have right now, you don't have anymore.
Yeah.
The types of issues you'll have is whenever you get used to making that kind of money, and you're like, oh man, let's go eat here, let's go do this, let's go do that.
I want a $1,400 pen.
Yeah, you can do all these things. You can do all these things, and then you have a month where you just can't seem to give it away.
Yeah.
And then those bills start coming back on you, and you're like, I done accrued all of these big boy bills, and I done made a huge mistake. So, so be careful. Yeah,
you're saying 4,000 and 5,000 in a week. I've never hit that in 2 weeks. I've never hit that in a month.
My check that's coming up, week's 9.
Oh my God.
I worked 2 days for it. But like I said, it's also
I mean, you've put your time in. So.
Oh man, I mean, if you only knew. But at the same time, man, I can go a whole month next month and not write a dang thing. So, like I said, when you tell somebody, yeah, I made this or I make this, there's a lot more to it than that. It's not a consistent. You want it to be consistent.
Yeah.
And there's people that are consistent. It's just, for me, I've got so much going on. It's like, I think I've got my groove back because I was out for about 3 or 4 months.
Oh, dang.
Right, because of the boxing gym
Yeah.
that opened up. So I was kind of in a position where I kind of forgot a lot. Like I wasn't sharpening my tools when I was out.
Yeah.
So it took me a little while to get back rolling. So now I'm back at a 50% close rate. So that's good.
Dang.
So so now it's going to be hard to put a whooping on me now.
Yeah.
Because I've got my groove back.
And you've been doing the exit for how long now?
Going on 3 years, I think. Yeah. Time. That's what I'm saying. Time flies. It feels like I just sold Timeshare.
Yeah.
But man, it's been over 3 years since I sold Timeshare.
Dang.
4 years. So, yeah, it's pretty wild.
That is. Dang. So you've probably, you don't have to say it, but you've probably made like $1 million maybe?
You mean in my lifetime?
Yeah. Well, like, I guess just with the timeshare kind of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I would have to say I have. Yeah. I would say so, probably, more than likely.
Dang.
I hadn't done the math on it.
Yeah.
But
that's what's up.
I would have to say I probably have. But,
Yeah.
I mean, my life hasn't changed for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, if I didn't have that boxing gym, we'd be living lavishly as of right these days. But
Yeah.
I just wanted to provide something for the kids in Thompson. My wife, she's got a nonprofit called Child to Champ, and the focus of it is teaching kids anger management, teaching them how to apply for college grants and all these things. I mean, it's much deeper than that for my wife. She has this vision and she truly wants to help these kids, and I want to help these kids. It's just so hard getting the town behind it because Thompson's kind of a place where it's that old money. You know? And you've really got to show them that you really care, I guess, in a sense, because it's hard working your way into that good old boy system they got.
Yeah.
But I mean, our landlord, he's that owns the building that we're leasing out of. Good guy, super nice guy. I wish he would lower it for me. So if you're watching this, it'd be nice if you lowered that. But no, I mean, like we just went and bought a commercial play set, a big one.
I think I saw that when I was looking.
Yeah. It's huge, man. I've got to pay somebody to put that together because I'm not even going to pretend. Like you almost got to hire a NASA engineer, and the reason being is because it was already broken down when we got to it. It don't come with instructions.
Oh my!
Those pictures you saw, that's the pictures I got. So now we got to figure that out. That's a whole other task.
Yeah. So where are you going to put that at?
In the very front of the building. It's a pretty big building I got.
Okay.
So in the very front of the building, I'm going to take the boxing ring and I'm going to slide it into the middle of the room, and I'm going to put that play set right at the very front. It's going to take up a lot of space, but I'm fine with that. Whatever gets the kids, keeps them busy, because I see on Facebook, they're like, the kids have nothing to do. They have nowhere to go play, yada, yada, yada. So I was like, all right, let me put my money where my mouth is, and let's go do this thing. My wife, it was her idea, and I remember I was scrolling through Facebook, and I was like, hey, I showed her that. She messaged the guy, and so we left the next morning in a 26-foot U-Haul that had to be pushed. And the guy had a skid steer with the forks on the front. Bobcat, he pushed, like, it's how much, I mean, it is crazy. He had to take the forks and push it in there so I can shut the gate, the back gate on this thing. But like I said, the town put it together pretty well for us. I said, hey, y'all, I really need some help unloading all this stuff. I didn't know how I was going to make it happen. I mean, whenever we loaded everything up, it was me, my wife, 3 other guys, and a guy with a skid steer picking this heavy stuff up, moving it, because these things aren't light. Yeah. So, man, we had like 13 people showed up. I was like, whoa. I mean, people I hadn't ever really had much of a conversation with in my life. Yeah. So there are people that do care and want to help. It's just, man, I've forked out so much money. So much money. And I look at it, and sometimes I get in my head, I start thinking, whenever it's a rough week, because I had to pay all these bills over here and this, that, and the third, and I had no money. I'm sitting here thinking, man, I'm working so hard. I make way too much money for my kids to be eating ramen noodles.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, these same kids that I'm trying to help are going on snow skiing trips and everything else. I'm like, I'm not going to sacrifice my kids' childhood for that. Sorry. I'm just not going to. I mean, I'm willing to work with you. Mm-hmm. So I just need to see a little bit more of a, I guess, turnout.
Yeah.
Because the kids, that's what I'm hoping this playground will do. Mm-hmm. At least while they're whoever, the youth can come in there and learn boxing for 30 minutes or 45 minutes, and the last 20, 15 minutes they can play whatever, Because I know for a lot of kids, they don't want to get punched in the face. And and that's why I have two separate classes. I have a youth class that does zero sparring. They're not allowed to hit each other, period. Mm-hmm. I graduate them when I feel like they're ready. Whenever a certain individual I see they're ready or they got it, mm-hmm. then I'll say, okay, I think it's time for you to go to the competition class. Yeah. Because there's nothing else really I can teach you here. Mm-hmm. With this, like I said, I've got 5-year-olds in there. Their attention spans, they got the attention span of a goldfish. so I mean, and they love it though. I've seen a big difference in these kids. Like when they first came, they were all running around. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this. Yeah. And now I've got them where I say, all right, y'all get in line. They'll get in line and they'll do their stuff. And it's only because they know at the end of the class, 15 minutes later, they can go play. That's all. I kid you not. So it took me a long time to figure that part out. My wife figured that out. She's more fun than me. I'm straight to the point. Let's get to boxing. Yeah. But that's what it is we're just trying to, there's so many people I saw on Facebook. Oh, I put 5,000. I see like posts from people. I got $5,000 to go towards. Yeah, man. If we do something for the kids, yada yada. Meanwhile, I'm out here doing all of that. Ain't nobody gave me a whole lot. I know Benji Cranford in Thompson. He's the mayor now. He gave me $5,000. So we're going to we're putting on a show, Benjamin Cranford Classic. It's going to be an invitational only. Like you can't just sign your boxers up for it. Yeah, I'm going to hand select them because I want to make sure it's going to be some good shows. You want to pick me? Yeah, man. You want to box? I never boxed before. You never boxed before? Nah, bro. We just put you in there as like an exhibition. You can be our celebrity guest. Yeah. I'll be the ring girl. We'll have the podcast set up right in front of the ring. I can interview them as they lose, as they come out. Hey, man, how did it feel to get your nose broke? Well, you have to give 110%. Yeah, but man, my son is doing very good with it. I'm proud of him. He's a dog, man. He's a dog. I mean, it doesn't even matter if you're a better boxer than him. As long as you're, it does matter. Obviously, it will matter at some point. He'll find that one kid that's got it. But you can be a better boxer than him, but he's gonna come out and outfight you. Yeah, he's coming straight for you. He's throwing hands the entire time. You don't get a break. Mm-hmm. So he's beat two kids that on paper should have beat him. They've been training for 3-4 years. Dang. My son's been training. His first fight he had coming up, he had been training for 3 months. And this kid had been training for 3 years, a year older. Way more experience, had 4 fights under his belt. My son never had one, and he walked in there and handled his business. Dang. He won that one, and he just won this past one. And I mean, he's got something you can't teach, and that's he's got the dog in him. Yeah, it's just now we just got to sharpen his skills up to where if I can get him into a beautiful boxing standpoint where his footwork is great, that's the main thing. Footwork, head movement. As long as I can get into where he can fight on the inside real good, it's over. He's going all the way for sure. It's over. He's gonna be the white Floyd Mayweather. He said that he wants to be the first NFL player to win a world championship title, and he might. He's good. He's better at football than he is at boxing. It's crazy. I don't know where he gets it from. He'll get it from me. But he's fast. Yeah. He's good at it. He likes to hit you. Mm-hmm. He don't mind contact. So he's very good, very talented at football, and there's no doubt in my mind, as long as I can keep him away from women. Yeah. When he gets into his 15s, 16s, yeah. As long as I can keep him away from them, he's gonna be okay. Yeah. Do y'all ever do like bets on the kids, or like is there like underground prize picks? No. I mean, No, I've tried it already. This was before I was a boxing coach or certified. I didn't know the rules, and I was like, "Hey, man, like, tell so and so because
I got 50 on
yeah."
him.
I was like, "Tell him to run it back because I ain't get into all of that right here, but there was a point where I was willing to make a bet that his son wasn't gonna be able to beat my son because my son already beat him. I was like, he ain't gonna beat him. Tell him to go put some money on it." He's like, I might. It was PJ. I was talking to about it. PJ's like, man, I can't even do that, man. He'd been done told. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't know it was wrong to do that.
Yeah.
I was definitely down for it though.
Yeah. So how did you meet PJ?
Augusta Boxing Club. So
Okay.
yeah, I sent my son down to Augusta Boxing Club at first because he begged me for 2 years to take him to boxing, and I thought he just wanted to do it because I done it. He wanted to impress me. And I was like, nah, boy, you ain't built like that. You grew up in a gated community, son. Like, this ain't for you. But no, he turned out, at the 2 years, him and begging me, I took him down there. I told Ray, I said, throw him to the wolves. I just want to see what he's got in his heart. I just want to see where his heart is.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to waste my time or money if his heart ain't there. And he went in there and walked the dogs on all these kids.
Dang.
I said, oh, boy. I said, here goes my money. And sure enough, yeah, put that right there.
Oh, I should have got a cut for you, man.
It's okay, bro. It's okay. We'll drop it right back in there.
Use it for later.
Yeah. For that hard times I fall on. When I go to 3 weeks without selling something, I'm going to revert back to that same pouch. But no, I took Hudson down there and I started taking Hudson. And I don't know what PJ was doing at the time because I'd never seen PJ. And then all of a sudden, PJ started coming down and he's so good with the kids, man.
Yeah.
PJ is very good with them kids, and I grew to respect him and love him just because of how he took time with his kids the way he does. I mean, it's one thing to go in there and teach boxing, but I mean, he's playful with the kids, and he's just got a good vibe, and we made friends after that, and I mean, it's PJ's awesome.
Yeah. So have you taught him anything? Have you taught him anything boxing wise or
Hudson?
Or no, PJ?
No, man. PJ's been around boxing just as long as I have.
Oh, damn.
You know, yeah. You know, I mean, PJ's been around it for a long time. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I wouldn't even attempt to teach him anything about it. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, PJ's got his game and I got mine, and you know, it's one love in that sport. So I mean, if PJ wanted me to teach him something, I don't know if I could. He might know everything I know already anyway. So.
Yeah, maybe teach him about timeshare or something.
You know, PJ would probably do really good at it too because he just got that personality, man. He's but once again, like I said, it's just whenever you get to an adult stage of your life, when you've got kids, you've got this. I don't know what PJ has going on. I don't get into all this personal life, but man, it's hard for somebody to start timeshare because you truly are going to not make money for a long time. And as a man with family, like we've got to be making money. Mm-hmm. So that's the challenge with that is being a grown man or whatever with kids and a family or whatever. You try to move to a different location, and if you're relying on doing timeshare, you're going to be in for a rude awakening. Yeah. Because now your kids are hungry. Now you got the power bill to do, and what you going to do? You ain't nothing you can do. So that's why a lot of people bounce out in the first couple months when they don't make money. They're like, okay, I got to go. And it's always the ones that have all. That's why I say at your age, with you having the girlfriend and you don't have any kids or nothing, right?
No, just the 2 cats.
Yeah. So it's a perfect time for you to get started in that world if that's what you wanted. But once you have kids and all of that, you're not going to want to move them around. Yeah. Like I said, I've been there, done that, and I hated it. Because I don't want my kids having to go to a different school over and over again and have to, you know how it is. I mean, you go to a school, it's your first time going here, and then you've got these, especially if you look good. You know, my son's beautiful. I mean, he's definitely going to break a lot of hearts, but he's going to have to fight, and I don't want him to get used to fighting on the streets. I don't like that now, because I've Lord knows I've been there, and it doesn't. I mean, you might win the fight, but you're gonna lose the war in itself whenever you get inside that courtroom. And I don't want my son to have that issue. That's what this whole sport's about, is teaching you discipline. There's nothing that holds you more accountable than standing there in front of somebody and you make a mistake and you pay for it by getting punched in the face
instantly.
Yeah, so it teaches you real quick to think about your next move.
Yeah.
And I think that's very important in life. I want to make sure that he has that in his life, that somebody says something to you, you don't have to stop them. You don't have to fight them or even entertain them. A lot of these kids, you know, the world we live in now, they put these kids in a bubble, let these kids have their own opinions, like their opinions really matter. They don't. There's a reason why kids aren't allowed to vote.
Yeah.
They're not allowed to buy cigarettes because they're kids.
Yeah.
What they know don't matter, because what they think they know. Even as an adult, whenever I was 19, 20, 21 years old, I thought I had it figured out then. And I look back now and I'm like, I was clueless. But so, you know, the way this world is, especially on the gym now, I see these kids, because I'm involved with these kids. I want to make sure they're doing good in school. If they ain't doing good in school, I need to know about it, so I can hold them accountable. A lot of these kids don't have that at home, so I like to give them that, and they need that, because when they get into the real world, if you've talked back to your teachers, you've got your way this whole time, and whatever, there's no repercussions. I'm sorry, but detention, man, nobody cares about detention. Nobody cares about ISS. Nobody cares about, a lot of these kids don't care about suspension, because they're when they get home, they ain't getting disciplined for it. If you meet my son today, my son is yes sir, no sir. He is a very respectful young man, and I know for a fact whenever he gets grown, he's going to have that same exact level of respect for people, and he won't be caught up in the system. Nah, it all stems from at home, and my son knows there's repercussions that come with your decisions. And I mean, I hadn't had to whoop my son in probably 3 years, but he and even then, at 5 or 6, I'm not really whooping him, you know, but he feels like it was the worst thing in the world. Yeah, but you know, at the end of the day, I'm raising good kids, and these kids don't have that. That's why when they get grown, they've never had to deal with any consequences, so they go to jail. And a lot of these kids don't even care if they go to jail. It's just like detention or ISS. They're like, okay, I go to jail. Guess what I get? I get free food. I get this, because a lot of these kids at home, they don't have that. And that's where we're at, man. It's sad all the way around. Yeah, it's sad, and it's like, if you don't teach your kids discipline, somebody's going to, when they become an adult. And that's whenever you're standing there at the funeral saying, "Oh, this guy's such a bad person for doing this." And it was all self-defense. Yeah, your son was an idiot because you didn't do your job. That's what it boils down to. Yeah,
I feel that. And then, you know, you doing that to your son, it's going to in turn do that to his kids. And then it's just going to, you know, continue down the line. Yeah. So
I've been a lot of things in my life, but I've always been respectful to my elders until I felt like I was being disrespected. Yeah. Some of the times, maybe it was for the best of me, for what they were telling me. I was just too young and stupid to realize it. Like I said, I had to kind of unlearn a lot of things that I learned when I was young, because I didn't have that, hey, this isn't that big of a deal. This isn't that big of a deal. This is what disrespect really looks like, type thing. Yeah. You know, so I walked around with a chip on my shoulder for years, and it cost me a lot. Yeah, and I don't want to see that, because just because I'm good at what I do for a living doesn't mean that they'll have that, right? So I need to make sure that if they ever need to go get a job somewhere, they can. I mean, McDonald's won't hire me. If I want to go work at McDonald's, they won't hire me. Which breaks my heart. Man, I've been trying to get in there to flip a hamburger for years, but
I've emailed, I've called, I've texted, I've left voicemails.
Yeah, I even thought about buying a franchise. That's crazy. I could go buy a franchise at McDonald's and own the McDonald's, but I can't be hired to work there. Isn't that something
crazy?
That's just how this world is. I mean, you know, hey, it's also forced me outside of my comfort zone in a lot of things. So nobody's mad at it. Yeah, hey, I'm doing much better in my life because of it. So, but I don't want my kids to have to go through that. So, like I said, for me, my goal with Hudson is I mean, my son just doesn't really like school, right? There's some kids that just don't like it. Yeah. There's some kids, but there's some kids that love it, right? But mine's just
communist or something. Yeah. I don't know.
Mine's passing and everything. He dreads it. He asks me every day, "Dad, could I not go to school?" Like, no, son, you got to go to school. So I just know, like, he's not going to want to go to college next to keep going to be whatever. He's just, for him, what my goal for him is for him to be a black belt in jiu-jitsu. I want him to have a wrestling background, and I want him to win Golden Gloves in boxing. I want him to have all of that. And the reason being is because when he graduates high school, I want him to either pick a college to go play for. If for some reason he doesn't get a scholarship to play football, he can always go. He can turn professional in boxing at 18 because by that time he's going to have over 150 plus amateur bouts. So he's going to have that experience. He's going to have that, and he's got that dog in him. He's got that at a young age. It ain't going nowhere. He can go to boxing or he can do MMA. So and he'll be great at all of those things. So I don't want him to feel like his future is over now because I've graduated, I get a scholarship. That's where a lot of these kids in Thompson's known for football. Thompson's known for breeding athletes. Problem is, a lot of these kids, first off, you got to meet a certain height, weight type requirement. There's so much you got to do when it comes to football. Whereas boxing has weight classes. It don't matter how small you are, right? You got athletes that's very skinny and very small. They're just not big enough to make a move in a college world, right? And some kids you'll see they'll get popped with something as silly as having a bag of weed in their pocket, and now no college wants them, right? So I'm like, I want them, bring them here, right? So that's at the end of the day, I want them to feel like their life isn't over because what happens with a lot of these kids is when that happens, they're like, oh, my life is over, and then they go to hitting the streets, and next thing you know, they're caught up in the system because they had nothing else to do besides go hit the streets. And once they start making money doing something, no matter what, if they're making more money than their parents, hey, if for some reason they think they'll never get caught, right? Yeah. But I want to stop that, and I feel like this is a great avenue. It's going to take time, so we'll see.
Is Thompson a good kind of breeding ground for that? Like, is there a lot of crime and stuff over there?
Yeah, really? It used not be that way. When I went to school, I seen weed just a few times, but I was kind of a square in a sense. Like all I cared about was being in shape, right? That's all I cared about. I had friends that done. I had friends that would smoke it right in front of me, but I never cared to try it. I just didn't. Yeah. So I guess I just kind of was never really interested. But a lot of these kids are. So it's
fiends out here.
Yeah. Well, now I see where Thompson's got gangs in the schools now.
Really?
They just recently found a bullet or something. A kid had a gun or something. So it's like it's not what it used to be, which is the only reason I brought that gym to Thompson. I sure didn't bring it to Thompson because it was going to make me a lot of money. Yeah, because I already knew that wasn't going to happen. I knew I was taking a pay cut, crazy, but I want to help these kids. So I could have opened this boxing gym up in Columbia County and probably walked the dog with it. Yeah, but why do that when I can go back to my community and try to help? I just we'll see how that pans out.
How long have you had the gym for?
October 1st was grand opening.
Dang. Did y'all just win? Did y'all just win something over there, or y'all got? I saw something on Facebook, and that's what made me reach back out to you. Y'all got number one for something, an award maybe?
High school?
Possibly. I don't. I remember seeing something on Facebook about it. Somebody had shared it, or it might have been on the news or something like that.
Well, probably. I mean, they didn't win state this year in football. They won state last year. I think it was in football 2023. I think they won state. Yeah. Thompson's a breeding ground for athletes. They really are. They come. I mean, Thompson's in the conversation every year for sure. And I mean, these kids are great, but you got to understand, maybe 2 or 3 of them go to college to play football. I hate to tell you this, but 2 or 3 kids are not the reason why you're winning state. You've got other athletes in there. It's just colleges, scouts just don't see them, overlook them, or I mean, that same thing almost happened to Tom Brady with the draft. I mean, he was either he was dead last or close to being dead last being picked in the draft. Yeah. So like these scouts don't get it all right, and these kids when they get bummed out, they played football in Thompson their whole entire life. They played from the time they were 6 years old. They all play together. That's why they're so good. We all played together. So really, whenever their dream is to go to the NFL, whenever their dream gets crushed at 18 years old as a kid, you really think that's the end for you. Now it's okay. Now I'm not going to be this great thing. And then they go to whatever dark place they are. Yeah. If there's no conversation had at home, there's no communication at home, then these kids just go down their own little dark path, and it rarely leads out to something positive.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess, how was your kind of upbringing? Like, what made you want to, kind of do this with the boxing gym and all that kind of stuff?
Well, I had a rough background, man. I did a lot of fighting in the streets, a lot of fighting in the streets. We could have 3 or 4 podcasts just talking about that alone, but I'd rather not.
Yeah.
But I was in and out of jail a lot fighting. I'd never done any drugs. I'd never stole nothing from nobody. I got bullied on a lot when I was little, and when I grew up and I realized, hey, I get the first punch, I win. Then if I felt threatened by somebody, I would hit them.
Yeah.
And then when I turned 18, that carries a different weight, and I was too young and stupid to realize that. And I started going to jail a lot. And I mean, I should have been killed a long time ago. I mean, really, in today's world, I probably would be.
Yeah.
So thankfully, I'm not growing up through this era, and that's why I'm trying to protect my kids and everybody else's kids from. If I can keep them in the gym, we're good. But so I like I said, man, I had some money on me. I'd saved up a little bit, and I started seeing Facebook posts about how bad Thompson is. Even I live in Augusta. I was living in Nashville, then I was living in Orlando, now I live in Augusta. The whole time I was there, I could see everything going on in Thompson. I'm friends with everybody in Thompson on Facebook. So I'm seeing all these complaints getting worse and worse and worse, and this was literally over this past summer. Hudson had took a love into boxing, and I saw he was natural. He was truly like a fish in water with it, and I was like, I started thinking. I was like, well, I'm seeing all this arson. Like some kids had destroyed a school bus in Thompson, and they were like, "Oh, these terrible bad kids, yada yada yada." And I'm sitting there thinking, that's my future Hall of Famer right there, right? I think because a lot of these kids get bored, man. There's nothing to do in Thompson. These people complain. They complain. I mean, if a complaint on Facebook was $1,000,
Yeah.
Thompson would have the best of the best play stuff for these kids and outfits for them to do, but all they do is just talk. That's all they're doing is talking.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there watching all the complaints. Everybody wants to complain, but nobody wants to chip in when it's time to make that fix.
Everybody's a talker, bro.
Yeah. I've gotten donations, here and there. I think we've probably raised with that $5,000 from Benji. We've probably raised about $6,500. But like I said, everybody else, the other people were talking, and I'm very appreciative for every donation we've had, for sure. I'm not saying that I'm not, by no means. It's just that was from probably about 5 people total.
Yeah.
Right. My question is where's the other 400 on my news feed that's complaining about what's going on in Thompson?
Yeah.
Where are they at?
Yeah.
Like
I got scared.
And what's crazy is I haven't pulled $1 out of that account yet.
Really?
I haven't pulled a dime out of that account yet. I'm literally pulling out of my own pocket right now. And it's because, first off, I've got to host an event. That's $5,000 of it. So I've got, $1,500 sitting in there?
Yeah.
And I just feel like when the time is right, because we've got to build this thing up. We want to have computer stations in there for the kids, for after-school programs. We've got big plans, right? So we're just saving that up. But when it comes to the play set, I had to pay for that out of pocket, and it wasn't cheap. The boxing ring wasn't cheap. The bag racks in there wasn't cheap. The lease isn't cheap. The power bill in there is not cheap. And like I said, it's just I made the decision. Me and my wife made this decision to go this way, and we will make it happen without any donation. It's just what I'm saying is that it kills me to watch all these people complain.
Yeah.
Oh, they're doing this. These kids, this. I mean, these kids are bored.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
like
a
the
known,
Midwest.
Yeah, it's a known fact. A bored kid's brain is the devil's playground. So it's like, these kids are bored. What y'all got for them? Show me what you got. They don't advertise for anything. I think they have a boys and girls club. I think they do. But I mean, even then, what's it doing? Right? My question is where's all the money from the government going? Where's all these? I mean, they're talking about building a splash pad in Thompson, playground area in Thompson, right there by the courthouse is what I was told. And they, I mean, I haven't seen ground getting broke yet. But
good luck.
Yeah, and they may. But my question is this: What else is there to do? There's no bowling alley, no skating ring, there's no arcade center, there's nothing. If you want to go do something, you got to get out of Thompson. And a lot of these kids don't have that way to get out of Thompson to go do these things. They don't have, a lot of these kids don't have that. I mean, a lot of kids aren't privileged enough to be able to get out and go do these types of things. So, they're a product of their community. So the community has to look at themselves to see what they're raising. That's your fault, Mr. and Miss. That's your fault. Because these kids, they don't just raise themselves to raise themselves. There's somebody not making it happen. So it just annoys me that, I've got 4 or 5 awesome people that's made donations, and thank y'all very much. It's just the other 400 and something people that talk, and I want to bust their chaps so bad on Facebook, but I'm like, I don't want to do that. I want to keep it professional. But man, it's frustrating to see that people want it fixed, but nobody wants to do anything about it. Besides, it feels like besides us and the few people that's donated. Like I said, those same people will be the same people complaining 15, 20 years from now, and they haven't put $1 into it. Yeah,
they just want to pass it off to somebody else, and they do the work.
Yeah, they like to see if Shawn's going to make it, right? Hey, hopefully Shawn can get it. Hopefully Shawn and Casey can make this thing happen.
Yeah, really.
I mean, hopefully we can. Yeah, but it's just, it takes a village to raise kids. It takes a village. And we just don't have that. The village isn't on the same page. You've got one set saying, yes, let's do this, and the other side saying, we don't need your help. And it doesn't matter your race. It doesn't matter your age. It doesn't matter any of those things. There's people that have different thought processes behind whatever it is. Some people want the help. Some people say, no, we good. And the ones that say, no, we good, I mean, they're the problem. Because, no, you're not good. The stats show, the statistics show you're not good. I think Thompson, I want to say, was like number 470 something out of 500 schools in Georgia.
Dang.
I mean, that is pathetic. That's pathetic. I'm sorry. And that's what I'm saying. The lady at the Board of Education there that runs the whole show, she didn't want to help Casey, or she didn't want to help. She said, we'll never help that boxing gym because of what Casey did with that teacher in Augusta. Because Casey put a whooping on a teacher.
Yeah, I saw that video. So, you must have been taking her to classes too. That was pretty legit.
I can honestly say that one shocked me. She had 0 training. I'm not allowed to train her. She'd be putting a whooping on me before it's over with.
I guess we know where your son got it from. You and her. Yeah, it's a good mix.
He's definitely got double. He's definitely got double of it for sure. But, but she didn't want to help because of that. I'm like, she put a whooping on a woman that deserved it, sir.
Yeah.
Ma'am. She put a whooping on a woman that deserved it 120%. Thankfully, I wasn't there. It would have been a different conversation probably, but she... Just the fact that she's, I guess, how some police officers are, I got your back, blue, no matter what happens with you. Back blue. Right? Yeah. and hey, that's okay. Right, and it's okay for the teachers to have each other's backs, but just don't put your hands on my kids.
Yeah. So what was the teacher doing? Because I saw the article, but I can never find the video.
Well, you wouldn't be able to see them because they only posted the ones they wanted to.
Yeah.
They edited their stuff out. She hit him. She was vacuuming one day. He was running by and she jerked the vacuum back and hit him in the face with it on purpose. It was clearly on purpose.
Yeah.
She hit him with books. She had him upside down, sitting on his head.
What?
Spanking him, which, hey, just as sure as you can dish it, you better be ready to take it.
You better be ready to take
it. And I wish you, and honestly, I wish you would have had another 10 minutes straight with her.
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, you can't tell me that's the first kid she's done that to. And you know what's crazy is how Columbia County acted like that was just normal. The detective told me, I said, she's hitting him with a book right here. And he's like, yeah, but it's a paperback book. He had a paperback book sitting beside him. I said, so if I grab that paperback book and I smack you upside the head with it, what happens to me? He just sat there. I said, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. My point. But, she goes to that Catholic church out there, and they've got the district attorney. He's one of the deacons or was one of the deacons. I don't know. He goes out there. Then we found out that one of the judges goes there. So now it's all starting to make sense. It's not even a conspiracy. It's just facts. So now you're sitting here looking at it, and you're like, oh, I see what's going on now. Because if you find her guilty, then we can sue the church.
Yeah.
And who are we suing if we sue the church? right? So it all started to make sense. They're a bunch of pathetic trash losers, is what they are, that hide behind politics. That's basically the way I feel about them. They're little people. That's all they are, is little people.
Little dwarfs.
The sheriff, little person. They're always little people in my world. They wouldn't last a day in my world. They wouldn't last a day with me. It's just that's just how they operate the smart way. I give them that. I mean, for me, I got in trouble because I got caught every time I punched somebody.
Yeah.
These cats are smart enough to do it. So I give them the respect on that. I don't like them. I don't care for them. I'll never sit down and eat lunch with them. That's for sure. Because I don't respect somebody that doesn't have a backbone of their own and say, no, this just ain't right, regardless.
Yeah.
You don't have a backbone. You care more about money than you do the kids, in my opinion. That's just how I feel.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. They could be the best people in the world, but not from my view. Not from where I'm sitting.
Yeah. So how did your wife find that out? Was your other son telling you, or
no? He couldn't talk. Oh, well, my other son didn't go there. My other son went to regular school.
Oh, okay.
So Hatcher had trouble speaking. His speech therapist recommended that Casey get him involved into a some kind of a daycare or something like that, where he can have conversations with kids and learn a little bit from them. So Casey found this place, and she took him there. And the first day she took him, Hatcher has never had a limp in his life. He's never had a limp. He's
like a walking limp?
Yeah, like he's limp. His legs hurt. So Casey gets a phone call at like 1 o'clock or 12 o'clock to come pick him up. He's limping. They don't know what's wrong. Well, of course, Hatcher can't tell us what's wrong. I think he was 2 at the time. Yeah, Hatcher was 2. So he can't tell us anything.
He doesn't know English.
Yeah, he doesn't know English. He can't hardly hear it because he didn't have tubes at the time, I don't think. Maybe he did. But
Tubes
either way,
for hearing?
Yeah.
Oh.
That ended up being one of the problems, is he had tubes. He couldn't understand what you were saying, period, because he couldn't hear you.
Yeah.
So we later found out, other stuff. But, anytime we go pick her up, the way that the teacher would talk, I could see in her eyes. Like, it's my job, what I do for a living is to read you.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So I'm watching her, and I can see in her eyes that she's got anger in her voice when she's talking. I'm watching her. I'm like, I told Casey, I said, something don't seem right with her. I said, something's off with her. I said, you need to check the tapes. Well, she went and picked her up again. She didn't like the way it happened, the way it looked. So she's told them, hey, I want to check the tapes. And I was in Connecticut working. She said, I want to check the tapes. And they found every reason to not want to do that. But they finally agreed, okay. So she sits down and she goes through these tapes. And whatever happened after that, I said, I got a phone call much later. And I was like, what? I was shocked by it, because that's not Casey. Casey's not a violent person. So whatever it was, I knew it was well warranted.
Yeah.
Because she's not a violent person. I'm the violent one. She's not.
Yeah.
So that's what shocked me about it. Now, had it been me, that you could have really ran me into the dirt, no problem. But with it being her, you're just kind of scratching your head like, whoa, this is something isn't right.
Yeah.
But they tried to paint her out on the Austin Road show like she was this terrible mom that overreacted, saying that she done a GoFundMe because she needed it, and she scammed people out of the money because she was truly in the wrong. Man, the case just didn't get dismissed. She went through a pre-trial something.
Yeah.
Diversion where. So they finally got the case moved out of Columbia County to Richmond County because there was a conflict of interest. Lo and behold, everything we were saying was true.
Oh, wow.
But of course, the news station, nobody come out talking about that. Right?
Yeah.
So then as soon as it got moved, immediately, pretrial diversion, just do some couple hours of community service, go to anger management, and we'll drop everything. Just that simple. And that's what happened.
Yeah.
But everything. I learned a lot through that process about who's really running the shows around here.
Yeah.
Right.
She had to go to anger management?
Yeah, she did. I mean, I'm sorry, but if you're a mom and what you see on that video don't anger you, then you're not very much of a mom. That's just my opinion. But Casey said that she did get some good out of it. That's what gave her another want to help these kids go through anger management. She's like, it did do me some good.
Yeah.
So like I said, everything turns into a positive at the end of the day for us. Is we look at it in a positive way. We want to make good changes. It's just, yeah, that whole situation, was crazy. Just because you've got people in there, because when the tapes come out, they showed edited tapes. They show tapes where there's 10, 15 seconds missing in between.
Yeah.
If you look at the timestamp, it'll jump 20 seconds. Just so happens she's sitting down with him right here. Now he's over here and she's over here 20 seconds later, and you don't get to see it.
Yeah.
Casey got to see it. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Casey got to see the stuff that the news wouldn't put out. Why wouldn't the news put it out? I don't know. All I know is that the news paid, I think it was $1,200 to get the tapes from the Columbia County Sheriff's Department. I know that much. I know they paid to get it. Dang. I know they got it. I know they got the tapes before we did. I know that. So it's like, and let's not forget that they somehow lost the tapes.
They love saying that.
They lost the tapes. On a case this big, as a sheriff's department, you lost the tapes.
It's like the main thing you want to keep, you know?
Yeah, imagine if this was the district attorney's grandson that got done that way. What do you think would have happened? Do you think Columbia County would have lost the tapes? Get out of my face. Miss me with that. Come on. But it's okay. They live in their own little world, and they leave me alone, and that's best for both parties.
Yeah.
It's best to leave me alone. I don't bother you. You don't bother me.
Dang. So when did that happen? Early last year?
No, I mean, this happened probably 2-3 years ago.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, it's been going on for a while.
Dang.
Yeah.
And is it still like under like investigation, or like
No,
I guess everything is done now?
As far as the criminal side of it is done. But we coming after the church though.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, they tried to paint Casey out as a person because Casey done a GoFundMe because people were on there in her inbox saying, "Hey, girl, just please start a GoFundMe so that way I can send you some money. If nothing else," Casey's like, "No, we don't need it." She's like, "Oh, well, I want to at least pay for to go get your nails done. Whatever. No problem." So Casey starts to GoFundMe. And it generated a lot of money. Like somewhere close to like 40 grand, I think. And
oh my gosh.
So, and every bit of that went to the doctor. I mean, the lawyers. The lawyer. Man, I think we're on our 5th lawyer now.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, we got
called Mike Costello. Man, where's he at?
It was crazy how much money that was. I was like, "Ooh, thank goodness for it," because we didn't need 40,000.
Yeah,
that wasn't the thing. We need 40,000 to get an attorney. But now when we look at it, we're like, yeah, we did need, because it took it, right? But yeah, man, now we're going after the church because I'm sorry, somebody's got to pay for this. To even slander her name the way they did or attempted to was incredible. I'm sorry, I don't know how y'all do it in the Catholic world. I've heard stories. I've heard some stories, but I don't know how y'all do it exactly. All I know is it doesn't matter to me. It can be the Father himself. You know, he puts his son, the priest or whatever is what I'm talking to. I'm not talking about God.
Yeah.
But the priest himself puts his hands on my son.
Dang.
He's gonna have a long day in confessions.
He's gonna meet the Holy Spirit himself.
He's gonna have a long day. I say that. Like I said, I don't condone any abuse to kids, period. But what she was doing was pure abuse.
Yeah.
And especially for a kid that couldn't tell us. She thought she was going to get away with it. That was the sweeter part. They're like, you should let justice handle itself. Like, no, well, clearly in this case, the justice that was got up front was good, because had we not got justice up front, we would have never got it on the back end.
These justice hands work pretty well.
Yeah, that's your justice right there. Just these hands.
Oh, dang.
But yeah, I mean, it's, you know, I can sit and laugh about it now, but it took a toll on us.
Yeah.
It did. It mentally, it drove me into a drinking spiral. You know, I would get on the airplanes. I've never been much of a drinker at home, but you know, like I would. There was a time where I would get on the airplane, and I mean, if I got flight miles from what I do, so I fly first class everywhere. So I'm drinking.
Yeah,
right? And I just started drinking a lot, drinking more and more, to the point to where I was. I mean, I'd be belligerent by the time I got to wherever I was going to work, and it just because I was so stressed about all of that. I don't like people running my name through the mud. I don't like people running my family through the mud, and I can't do anything about it legally, right? Yeah. And I don't want it to go. I don't never want to go backwards. I never will. But it's just, you know, like it's just so much, man. So much. I tell you what, her attorney that she had was a boss, so I give him that. Jack Long, out of Augusta.
Yeah. Huh. So did that
He's,
lady?
he's great at his job. I can give him credit for that.
So did that lady that was hitting your kid? Did she ever get in trouble, or like, what happened to her?
Yeah, the only person she got in trouble about was Casey.
Oh dang, man.
Yeah, she even said in the video, one of the videotapes Casey's had, you can hear her saying, "I quit, like she, because she didn't want to. She didn't want Casey to see them videos.
Yeah.
So she was like, I just quit then. She didn't want Casey to see them videos. So yeah, it was crazy. When Casey finally did get to see the videos, this was like a day or two later when Casey got to see the videos, and this is where that's when everything went sideways. But yeah, it's I don't wish that on nobody have to go through that.
Yeah.
But all I say to that is watch who you're leaving your kids with, and for me and my family, my kids won't be left with anybody in the Catholic Church. I mean, I'm the type of person to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. Even after all the stuff I've heard, it's like, okay, well, that was so many years ago. That was here. So that that was overseas. That was last year, but it was over here, right? Can't happen to us, right? So now I realize that it can, and I'm as a parent, it makes you feel like you failed them by leaving them with someone that's abusing them. And that's how I felt. I felt like I failed them. So not only am I mad at everybody over there, I'm mad at myself too.
Yeah.
For not catching it sooner. Well, and what's crazy is we caught it soon. I think he was there for a week when we caught it. Because when the first couple of like 2 times in a row, I watched this lady's, and I was like, yeah, nah, something ain't right here. So I had Casey do some searching into that, and that's what the outcome come out to be.
So did you get to see the unedited tapes as well, or was it just
no? Because when we went to see the investigator, they had to, I think they said something about blurring out people's kids' faces and stuff like that, yada, yada, yada. So, okay, fair enough, whatever. But even the videos we saw, you could tell they were all in the same cahoots.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, at the end of the day, you got the DA, then you got the sheriff, and the sheriff was telling Casey how she's overreacting and all of this stuff, and but if it would have been he told her, had that been my kid, I'd have been fine with it. I know you wouldn't have. No, you wouldn't have. You silly little rascal.
Unless just a bad parent. I don't know.
Yeah, you silly little rascal. You don't think we're gonna buy that, do you? I don't need y'all to tell us we crazy. I already know that, right? No, but at the same time, I mean, they didn't have. I mean, we didn't have a prayer. I promise you this much: nobody would have got as far as Casey got with this situation. If it had been anybody else in Augusta, they'd have been like, oh, okay, I'm tired. I mean, it was mentally exhausting to the point where we had to go on spur of the moment vacations just to Myrtle Beach just to clear our minds for a day or two and come back because it drains you so much. I could never be an attorney.
Yeah.
I could never be an attorney. Never. I could never ever be an attorney because to have to deal with all that stuff, I'm not big on fighting and arguing. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I just don't like it. And like my wife would tell you, I don't like arguing. I'll just be quiet. I'll just be quiet for a couple weeks. Then I'll finally start coming back around. But no, but it was too much drama for me. I mean, that was crazy. And to know that we're in the right and to know what they're doing, but people don't believe you, right? Because I mean, why would they lie, right? So it was just like, oh man, and then I truly got to see what politics was really about, and that really disgusted me more than anything. Not more than anything, but it really disgusted me to be able to see that people are actually like that. Yeah, that do have a lot of say so in what goes on in our community. That's who's running it. People that can be bought. That's why people love Trump so much when he come through because he couldn't be bought. He didn't care about nothing. He didn't care about nothing. But it's them paid politicians, buddy. That's them paid politicians. They get paid to stir the pot, and they all have access to one thing, and that is the media. Yeah. That is the media. They all have access to that media. And that's exactly the same thing that happened here. Yeah. So it was like, okay, I got to live this part of it now. Right? Yeah. So the heck with them all. I don't like none of them. Yeah.
So you said Austin Rhodes was talking about her?
Yeah, clown shoe. Yeah, that's because he's supposed to. That's his compadres over there.
Yeah.
You got to understand that. Once again, they all have access now, this brotherhood to the media, just like you see with you've got CNN on one side, you've got Fox News on one side, right? It's all the same, man. It's the same way over here. The only difference is they're not big, like they're not the president.
Yeah,
they're not on a national scale. They're just in the county scale or CSRA scale. So, you know, I mean, yeah, he come out talking sideways, and I was like, okay, dude. Like, okay, dude.
Yeah.
You know, what are you, nothing more than I don't know, a guy that sits behind a computer screen and
talks trash
and analyzes what should have happened here or what did happen here, and that's your job. You know, so I mean, he doesn't scare me at any. Nothing about any of them scare me. It's just to know that the weak has such a voice these days. This is what's sad.
It's whatever gets the most views, whatever gets the most clicks.
And hey, has she been in the wrong and he said those things? I'd have said, well, you know, I mean, that sucks, but you know, it is what it is. But for me to know the motive behind them saying those things is what disgusts me with them.
Yeah.
All the way down to the jail report itself, the newspaper thing. It was just like, dude, come on, y'all.
Yeah.
I think they put her on the cover of I think it was like Scam Artist or something of the year. They put her on that. And so, yeah. And so then they immediately started trying to take it all back down off the, you know, because Casey said, that's fine. Lawsuit coming your way, sir. So, because it wasn't true. She didn't scam nobody out of no money. They gave her money. I think 2 people asked for their money back, and Casey gave them their money back.
Yeah.
I mean, what's $20, $50? Here's $20, here's $50. Just take it back
From the GoFundMe or something?
Yeah. Like, it was never a plan to say, oh, let's see if we can get 40. Who would have ever thought, for one, that would have produced that kind of numbers?
Yeah.
Nobody ever thought that. But guess what? Their media is their fault that it got that big. Their media is the one that wanted to blast it all over the news. You need to talk to your people about that. Whoever pulled that trigger, that's the one that you need to be talking to. Because at the end of the day, hey, I mean, we were not expecting that, but we sure wasn't going to stop it. I mean, that's crazy. Hey, I've got $2,000 now. Y'all please stop. Come on, man. Let's be real.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they showed me their true colors. And I hate the fact that I live in Columbia County now just because of them.
Yeah.
I don't want to give them any of my tax dollars.
Yeah. Huh. So would you still want that 120 acres you used to have, or do you have?
I'm planning on getting that back.
Same one too. It's the same acreage,
same exact one, same location, same everything. So
really?
that one. I plan on getting it back. I just got to figure out what I'm gonna do with this gym first, because like I said, I need this gym to be self-sustainable for me to be able to go out and get my stuff back.
Yeah.
So hopefully,
did you sell that to like an individual, or was it claimed by the state?
I bought it from the individual, and I sold it back over to him. Basically, just signed it back over to him. So like he's great. He's been one of my number one supporters from the start. I can truly say that. So shout out to you, Keith.
Yeah. How did you get it in the first place?
How did I get it? I think I passed by and saw this big old banner sitting there that said 100 and I think it's either 113 or 117 acres. It was an odd number like that.
Yeah.
I just say 120 because I mean I don't really know.
Yeah.
And I was like, it said for sale, and I was like, So I had just got a big contract with the government doing some houses, and I said, well, I got the money to put down on it, right? Let's. So I went and talked to them, and we rode the property, and I was like, this is insane. Like, it literally takes, I mean, from start to my driveway to the back of my driveway, I think it was like, you would ride for like 10 minutes or so.
Dang.
Yeah, dirt road. Yeah,
you could read a book in that time.
Yeah,
man.
there was 4 ponds on the property, duck ponds, bass, all that good stuff, and it was my son, my youngest one wasn't born yet. He wasn't born or conceived until we were in Nashville.
Hey, y'all practicing though, I tell you that.
Yeah. Did a lot of practicing, yeah, but no, we didn't.
Got to sharpen your skills. You know what I'm saying?
You know it. Got to stay on top of my game. Got to sharpen them tools, man. But no, so my oldest one was like 3 at the time, I think, and he had a 4-wheeler. So he'd ride the 4-wheeler, and he'd cruise around. I mean, we go fishing and stuff. Like I mean, you name it. And we'd have cookouts out there, and we just had a blast out there. We had plenty of acreage to do whatever we wanted to do, and that's truly where that's my heaven. It's like that's where my heaven on earth is, right there. And if I had that place and lived there, I'd be a happy man today. With that decision, but we'll see.
Yeah,
time will tell.
Dang, I would love something like that, man.
Yeah.
To be hidden away from the world,
man,
do whatever you want to do.
I'm telling you, I kid you not, there was one time I went out there and grilled out butt naked just because I could. I was butt naked flipping burgers. True story. I didn't care. I was like, man, luckily didn't nobody show up.
Might have to put up a gate for that or something.
But no, man, I just started grilling out butt naked. That's just, nothing feels better than being able to just do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
I mean, and having that much acreage, I mean, really we didn't need that much, but to have it is great.
Yeah.
My taxes wasn't high. It was under the Conservation Act or whatever you call it, and it was like $450 a year for 120, 117 or 80 acres. Oh. So, yeah.
Huh. But yeah, how was that expensive or?
Yeah. But no, it really wasn't, man. Like I said, the guy, he loved me from the start. I've known him for years, long before then. And he gave me a good deal on it, and a very good deal on it. Mm-hmm. So I had to take it.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I'd be a fool not to get this place.
Yeah.
But once again, the mortgage on it was around $2,000. I think it was $2,000 even a month. And
some people are paying that for just a house these days.
Yeah. I literally told the wife the other day, I said, if we'd have never got rid of that place, we would be in business right now.
Oh my gosh.
Because now you can't even rent a regular house for that, it seems like. And it's like, this is insane. And we had it, I mean, but once again, I mean, everything we done was for a reason. I mean, everything happens for a reason. But we just had to get rid of it. So I'm scared to know what that payment will be today, and that's why I worry if I will be able to get it back, because that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money a month. Because see, when I did construction, everybody knows in the construction world it's very seasonal. So I was great all summer long, no big deal. But when you started getting into those winter months, that's when I started stressing, because I had bills and I had jobs I had to get to here. I didn't have enough people for them, and it's hard to keep good help. Nobody wants to work these days. So there was that. It was tough, man. It was tough.
Yeah.
I had one guy named Troy work for me.
Oh, gosh.
Troy's my brother, black guy, Troy Hart. Shout out Troy. Troy was the funniest person that's ever worked for me. And I went to school with Troy. And I don't know how we ever even linked up for him to come work with me. I think he might have hit me on Facebook or something, and I hired him through Facebook or something. I don't know. But Troy would show up. There was so many times. I got so many stories with Troy. But Troy, one I'll never forget, he pulls up. He's late. And I'm sitting there. And I'm like, nah, Troy, you just go ahead and go on back home. And he's like, I can't, man. I said, why? He said, look at my car. He got bullet holes all in his car. He done got somebody that gave him a good old drive-by when he was in his car. He had bullet holes all in his car.
No way.
He's like, I can't go back home, man. I was like, fair enough. Get in the truck. So he goes to work, whatever. There was one time he showed up. He had a black eye, and I'm talking about it was black. And
that's got to be black on a black dude.
Yeah, I've been telling you, it was black. I was like, Troy, what happened, man? He's like, man, my old lady hit me with a vacuum cleaner. Man, Troy, I got so I fired Troy one time because he tried to sell me ecstasy on the way to work. This was years ago.
That's a promotion right there.
I ain't snitching on him because he's then went to prison and got out. He's good now. But this was years ago. He said, "Hey, Shawn, who's on the way to work now? I've never fooled any of that stuff." He opens up. He's like, "You want some of this?" I was like, "What is that?" It's ecstasy. Oh, he says X. I said, "What's that?" He's like, "It's ecstasy." I was like, he's like, "You want some?" I was like, "No." He's trying to sell me drugs. So I let that ride. I was like, Troy's just going through some things right now. We get to the job, and Troy his production is terrible. He ain't done nothing. He must have been up all night before. I don't know. But then somebody showed up. He went and sat down in the car with him, and I'm like, so I fired him. Damn. And probably 3 or 4 months goes by, we all decided, all of us friends, we're going to go play softball out there, Sweetwater and Thompson. So these are friends we hadn't talked to since high school. So we get out there, man, and we're out there. We're playing, and there's Troy. Troy's on the other team, right?
Dang.
So Troy's like, what I got to do to get my job back? I said, you ain't getting your job back. You ain't getting your job back. He said, if I hit a home run, can I get my job back? I said, if you hit a home run right here, not a home run today, but if you hit a home run right here, right now, because he was up to bat. You know? I said, if you hit a home run right here, you get your job back. Man, listen. This sucker, look, he hits the ball. The ball don't go over the fence. The ball is a ground ball. And he just never stopped running. He ran, never stopped running. And sure enough, he made it to home plate. He's like, you didn't say he had to go over the fence. It was a home run. And I was like, so then I hired him back.
Dang.
And Troy was great. He was great working after that. And just when I went to Nashville is when everything kind of fell apart for him. He kind of. Yeah, when I went back, he didn't have a job with me. I don't know what he did after that, but I know he ended up going to jail and going to prison. But he's out now. He's doing good. He comes by the gym and sees me sometimes. And Duke can box. I didn't know that. Yeah, I didn't know it. He come by one day. I was like, hop in there, Troy. I didn't know Troy because Troy's silly, funny, goofy guy, And man, please, he got in there, and I was like, whoa, bro, why are you not boxing? I mean, his movement's great. I mean, his footwork is amazing. Like you can tell he's been trained.
Really?
Like this isn't. You don't get that good to be a natural. Like, you just don't come out the gate like that. Like he's been trained.
I mean, he was in prison. You know how things go down.
Well, his brother's a pro boxer out of Atlanta.
Oh, dang.
So he said he used to spar with him and work with him a lot. So that made sense. I didn't know it. It was all a shocker to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, he looked amazing. He said he sparred like two of my guys and put a whooping on them.
Dang.
And then he woke up the next morning. I talked to him the next day. He said, "Man, I'm so sore. I can't hardly move, man." So, but yeah.
But yeah. So with the construction, do you ever miss or regret not doing that and then going to Nashville, or would you have? You're happy with kind of leaving that?
No. No, I mean, some parts of I miss it in aspects that you probably wouldn't believe. I don't miss it because of the money, because I do better now. But I miss it because I felt more like a man.
Yeah.
In this weird, I don't know. It was more fulfilling to me.
Yeah.
To get out there and sweat and nail upside and like it carrying heavy walk boards and stuff like that. Like it people think that they wouldn't miss it, but they will.
Yeah.
Like that's the only part of it I miss is that's why like when something happens to my wife's car, like shoot, I got this one. Like I don't care if I got to Google how to do it. Like I just had to put, we have a Jeep, and I just had to put a hub assembly on it. I had no idea what I was doing, but I was like, shoot, I ain't taking it. Well, let me back up. I did take it somewhere, and they was gonna charge me $2,300.
Oh my gosh!
I fixed it for $150.
Them technicians, man.
But I tell you, but I enjoyed doing it. I truly enjoyed working on it, and I was like, so it kind of gave me that because man, when you wear a suit and you don't do anything, like I don't even have any calluses on my hands anymore. And I remember when I first went to Nashville, I came home and I told my wife, I was like, man, when I shake these guys' hands, none of them have calluses. I said, they all got
soft hands.
They all got girl hands. They got women hands.
Soft hands, brother.
Yeah, they got women hands. And now I got the same hands.
Dang.
So, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's hard to say no to something when you don't sweat for a living anymore.
Yeah.
And when I mean, don't get me wrong, I miss it, but I don't miss it bad enough to be out there on a walkboard in a gable hanging soft and fascia in 105-degree weather.
Oh, yeah.
I don't miss the what do you call them things? Blisters.
Yeah.
I don't miss the blisters on my shoulders and back from the sun beating on it all day. I mean, there was several times when I come home and my wife's like, "What in the world?" 'Cause my back would be purple,
really,
right from the sun. Like it's past red, now it's purple, and I'd have blisters that big on my back.
So you don't tan it all? You just burn?
Well, towards the end of the summer, you'll start tanning. Or for me, but it's a slow process.
Yeah,
I got to get broke back in. Come summertime, it starts, and then probably about late July is whenever I start tanning it. I mean, you're going to have a tan regardless when you work with your shirt off in the summer. It don't matter what color it is, I guess. It's not going to be brown by no means. You're going to be red. But,
yeah.
But I mean, I hadn't had a tan in 5 years. I haven't had a tan in 5 years. But yeah, that's what I miss about it. I don't miss having. I don't miss the money by no means. What I miss is the ride home with the guys in the evening, talking and cutting up and being thankful to be home and can't wait to go to sleep because you're tired. You take a shower, eat, go straight to sleep. I miss that a little bit.
Yeah, you miss the brotherhood maybe a little bit.
Yeah. And I mean, I got brotherhood with the guys I work with now, but it's just not. It's not the same as when you work hand in hand together in that hot sun. You're all going through the same exact things together. So there is kind of a brotherhood when it comes to that. But once again, some things you gotta say bye to appreciate the new things for sure.
Yeah, the dudes you work with now are they real kind of? Because some people they get a lot of money and they kind of become fake or
No, these cats are just. That's one thing I can say about the sales world is those guys are just as screwed up as the guys that do construction. The guys that's hanging drywall, he's no different than the guy that's making $500,000 a year. They are just as screwed up in the head.
Yeah.
The only difference is one of them makes more money, so he spends it on more money to screw him up.
Yeah,
I mean, but they're the same people for sure. I mean. And I'm not saying all drywall guys are like that because I know some awesome cats that do drywall, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah,
you've got these guys that I said I grew up in construction my whole life. I mean, from the time I was in 4th grade, summertime, I worked for my dad every summer. I didn't have a choice, and I appreciate that because it gave me that work ethic.
Yeah, and
I wasn't afraid of that sun by the time I graduated. But I've been around it my whole life. I've seen grown men not ever have a driver's license, and they just work for that next hit of crack. And like I said, it's sad, but it's true.
Yeah.
And I always promised I would never be that, and so far so good.
Dang.
But yeah, they're as real gets, my friend. I can tell you that. The only ones I've ever seen that change are the ones that don't really make that much anyway. They think they make a lot. Yeah. Because they, I guess they never made that kind of money before, but you've got some people that, I mean, it does. Well, who was it said? It said, money don't change who you are, it just exposes you. Yeah. It exposes who you really are. Dang. So I've never changed for anybody. I never changed when I went, I was the same person when I went to Nashville, and they knew that they got the real me. I was no different with my boss than I was with my friend that sat beside me. I've had 2 of my bosses try to correct me, and it didn't go well. I had one boss that he wasn't my boss. He was my superior in a sense. He was a floor manager. He walked by and slapped me in the side of the head. I think he was being playful. Yeah, but I wasn't. He slapped me in the side of the head like 3 times. I mean, enough to where it kind of rang my ear a little bit. And I saw his guy. He was a big guy. He was in maybe the Marines or something like that. He thought he was tougher than what he really was, and I had to let him know that there's some guys out there that don't care. Like I'll do your drill instructor that same way, sir. Yeah. Don't put your hands on me. But so I caught back a good slap on him, and it rocked him pretty good. He was like, "What was that for?" I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And he's like, "Friends don't do friends like that." And I was like, "Yeah, well, newsflash, I ain't your friend, buddy. Yeah. Like, I don't know you." But I saw him kind of bully around some guys on the floor, and I always said if he ever puts his hands on me, it's on the popping right there on the spot. And it was. He didn't like it. Yeah. But he respected it. And after that, we actually became pretty good friends after that. I mean, nothing crazy happened about it. And so that was my first go around. My second go around was I had a manager that I was supposed to be going to his team to be a rep for his team. Because I just couldn't quite cut it where I was at yet. They were starting to give up on me. Like, let's put him on front line and see if he can do better on front line, because he ain't making it happen over here. And I remember there was this little bar right beside Wyndham, and it's called Scoreboard. It's right beside Wyndham in Nashville. And sometimes we go over there and have a few drinks and eat and go home. So that's what we did that day. And I remember I was there, and this manager said, "You know what I think you need, Shawn?" I mean, it's random. I did not warrant any of it. He's like, you don't think you need to straighten you up, Shawn?" I said, "What's that?" He said, "I think you need a good slap." I said, huh? I said, look, man, I'll be honest with you. I'm not doubting you that you won't slap me. But here's what I need you to understand. If you slap me, just know one's coming back. And it's going to be a lot harder than what you can slap me with, I promise.
Yeah.
And sure enough, man, he I give it to him. He held true to his word. He did. But I caught him. I caught him with one. And when I did, he didn't fall like I wanted him to. So I grabbed him by his throat and I picked him up and slammed him. And when I did,
Oh my God.
yeah, when I did, there was like a little drop down. There was like a little picnic area there, and he hit that picnic table. And it at that point I realized, okay, now he's definitely concussed. Like he was army crawling, and I was like, all right, that's enough. So I go back to work the next day. This is how gangster it is. It's not like some corporate company that they got to watch what you know.
Yeah.
This is how gangster it was. I went to work the next day. This guy's got black eyes. I don't know how. I don't know if he got into a fight afterwards or what, but there's no way I did that. So he's all banged up bad, man. And I remember, they got to understand, I've been on the floor at this point for probably 3 months. Like,
Yeah.
it takes you a long time. There's some people that when you go there, you go to meet them, shake their hand or something, they'll tell you, I'm not even going to shake your hand or meet you until you've been here for 8 months.
Dang.
You got to prove to me that you're going to be here. Dang. So that's like their thought process, right? So like somebody like me, typically you out of there, sir.
Yeah.
So I remember I'm sitting there, and the VP, I'm walking back to my car to leave that from work that day, and he runs out there and he said, Shawn, hey. I turned around, he said, hey, listen, man. He said, I'm sorry about what happened to you yesterday. Like, I was the victim, right? I was like, he's like, I'm sorry what happened to you yesterday. He's like, don't you worry, I'm going to handle it. I said, no, you don't have to do that. I said, I handled it. I said, we were two men outside of work. I said, he slapped me. I said, I slapped him back. I said, and at the end of the day, we're even. I said, he said, well, I'll make sure that you don't have to go to his team. I said, no. I said, he's the best manager on the floor. I want to go to his team. I said, I respect him as at work. I respect what he does. I said, I still want to learn from him.
Yeah.
I said, but we had to get that understanding out of the way, I guess, you know. But I said, he's like, okay, no problem. And I ended up not going to his team because I ended up figuring it out like that following week.
Yeah.
Thank the Lord, because they make a little bit more money on that side where I was at.
Yeah.
So it worked out.
So yeah, you brought up the slap thing. How do you feel about the like the UFC slap?
Man,
thing?
I
You
gotta
think
tell
you could do good on that?
I would never. Here's the thing: when I was in my early 20s, I would have loved to have done it.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have done it. Now I'm like, nah, it ain't for me. I love watching it. I tell you that. I love watching the highlights of it because for some reason I don't never catch it live. I always catch the highlights, right?
On TikTok or something.
Yeah. Now I think they had like a show or something, like the first season or something. I watched that whole show all the way through. I binge watched it. I loved it.
It's like a free CTE watch, bro.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. It's like, man, this is insane. But I know a lot of people give a lot of criticism, but at the end of the day, who are you to tell somebody what they can and can't do? You know? Hey, if they want to get slapped for a living, by all means. It's entertainment for us. That's all it is. That's what every sport's about. It's entertainment. If football wasn't entertaining, NFL wouldn't even be a thing. Same thing with boxing. If boxing wasn't entertaining to people, there's no reason to do it. Other than if you're just angry and want to get it out. But if you don't make money behind it, if people are not paying for the pay-per-views and paying for the tickets, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So it's all about entertainment, and it sure does bring entertainment to me. I enjoy watching it.
I mean, it's funny to see somebody get slapped and they're like kind of drop a little bit, and then they're like, well,
yeah, they wobble. Here's what gets me. There's no way I could ever put my hands behind my back holding a little bar thing. I can't fathom putting my hands behind my back and letting somebody slap me. I feel like I would flinch or like kudos to those guys. But I would have definitely done it whenever I was younger. I was just crazy like that. Bare knuckle boxing, I would have 100% done that. But once again, it just wasn't around during my primes, I guess.
Yeah. Do you think they have to train to like do you think they put a feather in your face and you don't like sneeze or something to like be able to not flinch?
I don't know. I know they've got these. I know they've got these new little training things that they're doing. What good does it do? I don't know, because I feel like somebody natural. When you get like a natural like Derek Lewis walks in there. I mean, if he slaps you, he don't need any special training. If he slaps you, it's a snooze fest. So it's all about the flip of that coin, brother. That's what gets me. Like, man, I gotta have a double-sided coin for me, because I don't mind doing it if I get to slap first.
Yeah.
If I get to slap first, I feel like, I mean, maybe not so much now. I may have lost power. I don't know. But I know when I was younger, I had knockout power. Very much so.
Yeah.
So I know if I got that first slap, I wasn't going to have to worry about getting slapped.
Yeah.
The problem is when you flip that coin and it lands on tails and you don't call it heads. Man, the heart must drop to the stomach like, oh, here we go. I've got to survive this, especially when you're in a heavyweight division. You're like, all right, now I really got to sure hope my neck is strong, you know?
Like, what do you think they're thinking? Like, the other dude's, like, sizing up. Like, he's inches away from your face. And
bro, the way they get down there and they start twisting their hips, I'm like, man. and here's what gets it for me. Is when they pop off a hard slap and that foot moves right outside that box. And this guy gets knocked out. He's like throwing up gang signs, locked up. And they're like, foul. So this guy, all he got was a foul out of it, but this guy's over here asleep right now. You know,
he's Stephen Hawking in the chair.
Yeah, this guy's over here about to be on a respirator, you know, for the next 6 months. You know, I'm like, this is crazy to me. That all he got out of that, like, the guy should be able to at least wake up and get a free slap out of it. Like, when the guy wakes up comes to, at least give him a free slap because you went out of the box. So I do see that in the future there's going to be some changes to the rules because it only makes sense. Yeah. But because I just feel like, man, you get the guy gets to slap you, and if it knocks you out, you don't get another chance to come back off of that. But I guess in boxing, if you get knocked out, that's it too. Yeah, I guess it's there for to keep you from doing brain damage more so to yourself. Yeah, if you were allowed to keep going. But man, I do see a lot of changes coming that way, and I hope they don't band-aid it up too much where it's not fun to watch, because I still want to see that raw slapping. Yeah, because this is like before it's getting sanctioned or whatever. Yeah. So like anything goes almost. You know? I love it, man. A lot of people dog it out, but I love watching it. I guess I just like watching it. Yeah, I like watching bare knuckle boxing. I think that's going to blow up big, because I don't know if you've ever watched bare knuckle fights, man, but man, their pay-per-views are sick. Yeah, I mean, every fight is a dog war. They come straight out. They're not sitting there trying to pick their shots. Nah, man, like they coming out and they coming in hot. Yeah, and that's what I love watching. I love watching that. How did we go from the UFC almost not even happening because they were not allowed to fight? Meanwhile, we got bare knuckle boxing coming back since the 1800s. Now it's all of a sudden coming back, and now I've even seen bare knuckle MMA fights that Jorge Masvidal puts on down in Savannah. Oh, so I'm like, you got bare knuckle MMA fights now, whereas before the UFC had to get commissioned with these gloves and all of that. Which, I mean, I guess it was a blessing in disguise, because look at where they are now. You know, it's been sanctioned and it's not so barbaric. But I think after that pandemic, people got so bored. Yeah. And they're so angry at the world because they've lost their job. Somebody. Yeah, they lost their jobs now. So now that they're starting to get to where, let me see that. Yeah,
and now Barstool's got something where they get like just normal, regular people to go out there and box.
Man, the rough and rowdy? Yeah. Dude, have you seen the pre-fight videos that these guys are sending in?
Yeah. I had one dude on the podcast that was a part of it. Yeah. Yeah. A dude named Thor. I don't know if you remember. Yeah.
How did he do?
I think he won like the first two or something. Yeah. But yeah, he did pretty good. Job, Thor. He's a big dude.
Yeah, good job, Thor.
He's the dude that runs the Max Fitness in Augusta. Oh, okay. So, yeah, he's the GM there. So he's pretty cool. He's a big dude.
Some of these guys, look, they came straight off the roof. I'm talking about missing teeth. They're like, yeah, you tell him I'm going to smoke a Pall Mall and I'm going to knock him out right after. And I'm like, oh my word, man. And it's almost like a bad wreck, because you're almost like, I would never pay to see that. Yeah. But I might. You know, what am I doing Friday night? You know, I might.
Yeah. It's like the micro wrestling stuff, bro. It's like you got midgets wrestling.
Listen. I have a coach that comes and helps me, Coach Josh Owen. He has a boxing gym in Washington Wilkes, and it's called Armor of God Boxing. And he's awesome. He's actually one you can learn a lot from. Yeah. Even being a trainer. I mean, he's really good. But he where was I going with that? I lost my train of thought.
like micro wrestling.
Yeah. So I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, because, a really good friend of mine owns the Bartram Trail golf course. And I was like, man, I could host the fights out there.
Yeah.
On the golf course. Who's ever done that?
That'd be luxurious.
Yeah. I was like, man, I could do that during Masters Week, right?
Dang,
and imagine how much that would bring in. And so in my head, that's where I was going to go with it. And he was like, man, that'd be great. He's like, you know what? He's like, like for an intermission show, he's like, a lot of these golfer guys ain't come to watch boxing, amateur boxing. He's like, they'll probably come to watch the little people, the little midgets get their little wrestling on. And he's like, because he knows everybody. I kid you not, he knows everybody in the sport of boxing, everybody in the sport of whatever. This dude's been around, so he's like, I can get you hooked up. I was like, how much you think it would cost? He's like, probably about $3,500 maybe. I was like, okay, all right, let's see where my pocketbook's at when we get closer to that time. But I ended up having to push the fights back because I felt like my guys wasn't ready. So the only time they had available on the calendar was April 20th. Problem with April 20th is I found out that it was Thompson's prom. I was like, no, nobody's going to come to that. So I now had to push it back. So the fights are going to be held at my building June 15th, and I'm doing a invitational only, and this is where I was going to make it where the most prestigious boxers from the state comes in to fight each other, and I'm just going to try to grow it from there. I said I never got into this for the money, so I know I'm going to come out of my pocket, but I want to do something great, something cool, and I've got belts being made for them right now as we speak. And I'm thinking about doing something a little bit special for the ones that get a referee stoppage or a knockout.
Dang.
So
maybe you can make like a little podcast belt for me or something.
Man, that'd be amazing. Yeah, you show up with your podcast equipment, I will have you a belt too, brother, and I will have it custom made for you. You show up to the fights that day. You have your stuff set up right here. We can do an interview live while the stuff's going on. Dang. And I'll have you a belt.
That's what's up.
And they're legit. They're no got it at the mall belts. These are the real deals. Trust me.
Not middle of the mall type stuff.
Yeah, as Riff Raff would say.
Dang, you know some Riff Raff then, huh?
Oh man, look, I've seen Riff Raff before he was even big. Before he ever started, it was like he had like a YouTube clip, and my brother was like, I was probably 21-ish. My brother was like 18, 17. And he's like, Shawn, look at this, and I look at it, and all I could help was laugh at how stupid this guy was, because like I could say he's never changed.
Yeah,
I guess we kind of got acclimated to who he is, so it's normal.
Yeah,
but he just looked like this because he didn't have the money he's got now, so he didn't have all the drip on. He looked homeless. But the stuff he was talking about, you would think this guy, like if you heard him talk, he's a mega millionaire.
Yeah,
and so yeah, man, I think he's awesome. I think he's awesome. He's hilarious. The podcast he done with Theo Vaughn was one of my tops.
Yes.
Watching them try to out silly each other was priceless.
I mean, they're like the same person almost. Just Theo Vaughn doesn't have any tattoos.
Yeah.
He's not a rapper.
Yeah, Riff Raff's not going anywhere for a very long time. Neither is Theo Vaughn.
Yeah, I love both of them, man.
Yeah,
I love both of them.
Entertainment, whatever entertains us. I like watching the Joe Rogan, but if I see because it has to be somebody on Joe Rogan that I know, and I think, oh, this will be interesting.
Yeah.
Here lately, it hasn't been a whole lot of people that I'm really like, oh, let's see what's going on here.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess after a while, you run out of people.
Yeah, he's at like 2,000 episodes.
How many people? So I mean, at some point, you're running out of people.
Or
here.
you just got to go find people on the street at that point.
Yeah,
yeah.
So he's just. But Riff Raff, if I see him on a podcast, I'm watching it.
Dang.
Theo Vaughn, if he's on a podcast, I'm watching it. The Drewski fella, if he's on a podcast, I'm watching it.
That dude is hilarious too.
Yeah,
bro.
he is. So,
I would love to do like the thing that he does, just be funny, know, and make money make millions off of it, bro.
And it's definitely out there. I mean, it's been proven. I didn't realize it. I wished it would have been like this whenever I was young.
Yeah.
But I just don't have the time and energy to put into it. I don't think. I used to make funny videos and stuff like that back in the day, but
dang, let's pull them out. Let's see them.
If I had them, I would pull them out. They've all gotten lost. I had it on Instagram, and I deleted my Instagram years ago, and it had all like a bunch of little funny clips that I had on there. It was funny, but I don't have any of those anymore.
Dang.
Now I've put the past behind me. I'm old.
But well, bro, thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
2.5 hours, bro.
Really?
Yeah, 2.5 hours.
And it feels like it's been an hour.
Yeah, I know. That first hour was like 30 minutes, bro.
Yeah, it took me 30 minutes to answer the first question. But yeah, man, I appreciate you having me on. And,
yeah, bro. Thanks for being transparent. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
So
hopefully I'll see you again. I'm down to do it anytime.
Yeah. So, do you want to like promote anything or like shout out all the stuff? Or?
Man, yeah. I mean, I like I said, I feel like anything needs to be bragged on or talked about or thrown a shout out to would 100% be Child the Champ. Like I said, we have a boxing club in Thompson, Georgia. It's called the Dog Pound. We just went to the fights. We showed out at these fights. Our guys put on a clinic. All of them looked amazing. We came back with several of them championship rings, and I'm proud of them. And I'm also want to give a shout out to the Child the Champ in the aspects of we really need to get these kids off the streets. We need to give them something to do. I'm not a barbaric person. I'm not going to throw kids in that don't know what they're doing to spar. I'm not going to have them fighting each other like some fighting ring, but I would like to be able to help the community the best I can. My wife, this is her passion. This is her baby. I know very little about Child the Champ as far as how to say everything that she's got going on, but she's got a lot going on. And if there's anybody that wants to donate, you can donate. You can go to childthechamp.org. There's a donation, and it's child with a number 2 champ.
Yeah.
You can donate there. Like I said, we haven't pulled any of the money out yet. I'm pulling it out of my own pocket right now for stuff that I think is going to be better. I only want to use the donation money for stuff that like computer systems and stuff like that for after school programs. And we're just so far away from that goal right now that I'm not going to touch the money until we get to that goal.
Yeah.
But like I said, Child the Champ, check us out. Like I said, bring your kids. Y'all come see us. We host fight nights the last month of the last Friday of every month. We host what's called Fight Night. All the gyms and the CSRA come down and they get some work in with. So you'll have 5 or 6 different gyms in there at one time in my building, and it's plenty big enough. I've got 5 20-foot church pews sitting around there. You won't have to worry about seating, that's for sure. And like I said, the top boxers all the way from Dominique Roundtree, Lil Jalapeno, Roman Pulley. You got a bunch of guys that's coming down to get work in down there. And this is the last Friday of every month. You don't have to ask. You don't have to just show up. It's at 122 Knox Shopping Center in Thompson, Georgia.
Dang, man, it's like you've done this before or something.
First time. I was on one like 3 nights ago, but it was on over the phone. It just didn't feel the same.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've actually sat down on a podcast.
Really?
Yeah.
Dang,
the other
bro.
night was the first time I've ever talked to somebody. But yeah, this is. Hey.
Yeah. Do you like it better like sitting in or like over the phone?
I love it so much better sitting in.
Yeah.
I doubt that I'll ever do another one over the phone.
Dang.
Because it sounded like I had a lisp, and I don't know if it's because of I had a dip in, and I was wondering maybe because I was hot, like my S's sound like I had a lisp. So I hated it when I heard it. I hated it. Doing it like this, this is it, bro.
Yeah.
This is it. Good job on your outfit, man. I think it's awesome.
I appreciate it. But yeah, man, thank you again for coming on. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you in the next one, I guess.
Peace.
Got my soul in a choke, I feel like I can't breathe. Keep my foot on the gas, my life in full speed. Feel like I